Hello.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hello.
So sorry we're late. Technology is not my friend. Papa Chicken Sugar Rush. Chris, what do you call a fish that wears a bow tie? Sophisticated. 1 second, Papa Chicken. That works better when I have this. Thank you, Papa Chicken.
Don't thank him for that.
Oh, I did. Paint liquor. Awkwardish rattle can. What's going on, everybody? How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday.
What a great holiday it was.
A great Christmas.
Panic Bomb, Sazzle, P-Snid. What's up, Awkwardish? Jason, you know you appreciate all my jokes, each and every one, says Papa Chicken.
No. Actually.
Eventually. Awesome, what's going on? Super duper. Hey, Big Bobzilla. Big Bob, 104 months.
Big Bob.
It was just
Hope you're doing
Christmas. I did not get my card yet. Your card? What's up, Tech Elf? Mo. Jason is painting up some Conquest today? What are these called, Jason?
These are called kappas. Kappabushi. They are the turtle, alligator, lizard things.
Yeah. Lumberjack, what's going on?
Hello, Tim. Hello, everybody.
Big Bob, you said, I thought at 100 we got Christmas Card Club. Humbug. I mean, you're 4 months past that, Big Bob.
Did you not get yours, Big Bob? Must have been bad. Must have been bad, Big Bob. All Monument Hobbies Christmas cards still adhere to the rules of Santa.
Naughty list. What are the,
I can't be held responsible for your inability to stay good throughout the year.
Matthias,
so get good, scrub.
Matthias is asking, are these crocodiles? Are these turtles? What are these, Jason?
Yes.
They look like turtles. Crocodiles?
Well, they don't have back shells, but they have turtle snouts.
Turtle snouts.
Turtle snouts, crocodile tail. Yeah. That's what they are.
Super Duper says, I super appreciate the basing texture tubes.
The what?
The basing texture tubes. Okay.
They're so good.
They'll change your life.
We have people that are like, tubs are better. We didn't know we were starting the tub versus tube war with them.
Tub versus the tube. The tube tub. The tube tubities. Tube-tacular. What's going on, everybody?
Get rid of that insubstantial cookie.
Insubstantial cookie.
Kick.
Goodbye.
Easy way to get banned for life. Be a bot.
I don't think so. Ban. I get to ban those people, Jason. That's it, though. What's going on, everybody? Hope you all had a great holiday. Jason, what'd you do?
Let's see.
You started working on your at-home setup.
We streamed.
Yeah.
Without you guys on Wednesday. Everybody got to go home early. They made me work, so we had a good stream. We went late, I think. Did we?
Yeah, you went 4 hours.
I don't remember if I quit right on time or not.
You went 4 hours and 27 minutes and 32 seconds.
So we went long. Had some fun.
26 minutes and 50
I then
seconds.
went and built the home setup for being able to stream at home. That's coming along pretty nicely. It wasn't at the point where I was ready to do a stream with it. The lighting still needs some help. The camera's a little off. It's not the same setup as here, so I'm going to have to get used to just not being as happy with it as I am here.
The The space is really well done, though.
It's nice and tight.
Yeah.
I have to make sure Cora has room for her beanbag chair.
Beanbag chair.
So it's all tucked into a 3x5 corner, nice and cozy. We'll see how that works.
Yes. Little Billy says, speaking of everybody, everyone can get out. I'm only here for Chris. Oh, Little Billy. I only have a couple more days of this before you turn your back on me again.
Is 2026 the year we get back to normal, Little Billy?
I hope so. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. M3 Stout. Hello, Monument Hobbies. Hope you're all making me feel... Oh, you're all making me feel better today. Just going to say insurance company policies and crop is just miserable wrong. Oh, I'm so sorry.
What's miserable?
Insurance company policies.
Oh. Wait, I thought those were the most fun thing on the planet.
I think they're the best thing on the planet. If you're looking for some snorting good times, read your insurance policy.
He's lying, Chad. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I mean, you might as well. You probably ought to read your insurance policy.
You should at least read it once or twice. You should read it. That's what it's there for.
You should know what's in it.
That's what you're paying for.
But if you read it, chances are you will no longer pay for it. Because you'll realize it isn't worth it.
It's a crock.
It's a crock.
Chris, I couldn't help but notice that these are new minis and that's an old palette. I'm also noticing that Jason has primed his own models. Your camera is also off. Feel like a certain button is going to press a certain down. I know. Unfortunately, I had set up my camera earlier today. I came in here before stream a little bit beforehand thinking it was going to work. It wasn't working, hence why we were late, hence the landscape discussion. And yeah. And now Jason's priming models. The rest is history. You do have a longer stream streak than me, Rucket, technically. Zilfer, what's going on? Super Duper John says, but I need to be sure I have that volcano insurance here in Southern California. You never know. One could just massively erupt.
Shouldn't we all have volcano insurance, considering Yellowstone is a thing?
I guess that is true.
Like, when it goes, though, I don't think there's insurance anymore.
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah. We could all go for some volcano insurance. Awkward says, if Yellowstone goes, insurance ain't helping none of us. I don't think the insurance companies are going to be taking my call that day.
No. Have you seen or played Fallout? It wasn't a nuclear holocaust that happened. It was Yellowstone.
Super Bleeder, when Yellowstone blows, just sell your house and the lava monsters and move. Okay. We'll sell it to the lava monsters.
Lava monsters?
That's what Super Bleeder says. Sell your house to the lava monsters and move. Okay. I'll do that.
What lava What are we talking about?
Lava monsters,
That's
Jason.
Not real.
They live in Yellowstone for sure.
That's not real. Lava monsters aren't real.
That Chai Cat said, aside from working on the new stream setup, any other neat hobby stuff happening for you all over the holidays?
I built these models. I had a friend in town, and so he came and joined me here at the office on Saturday for lunch. And we sat and hobbied and chit-chatted. He built one of my models.
Who did?
He built a resin model that I had laying around. So had some good one-on-one hobby time.
Nice.
And then hung out with the dogs. Jen got a puzzle, so we've been building a puzzle that's insane. We got this puzzle that is filled with Easter eggs And I guess what they mean by Easter eggs is that the picture doesn't always tell you or show you what the actual puzzle looks like. There's parts of it that were wrong.
Oh, that's tough.
Not wrong, like on purpose wrong.
Oh, yeah. So you couldn't use the picture as a reference?
No, it has a twist. It's a puzzle with a twist ending. It's a whole city filled with dinosaurs doing human stuff like shopping, and there's a recording studio, and
how many pieces?
It's this voyeuristic, all these dinosaurs inside of office buildings and in the park and at the beach. And the twist is that you get to where you're doing the puzzle and a bunch of the pieces you find these pieces that that doesn't look right, and it's not even on the picture. And it's because one whole corner in the upper side of the thing is the asteroid coming to kill them all.
Oh boy. So
it literally is just a huge asteroid up in the upper corner that isn't part of the puzzle in the picture. And you have to figure out that this huge, probably
kind of dark.
Probably like 15% of the puzzle is where this meteor is, and it's different than the picture. So yeah, they're all playing and having fun, and there's a bunch of them. There's like a dude on the toilet in his apartment. It's such a weird slice of life thing, and it's all these teeny weeny, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So it's super colorful as a puzzle should be. So it's very hard to put together anyway. And then they change it up on you. It has all these, you usually pick out the flat-sided pieces to do the edge with. Mm-hmm. This has them all throughout the puzzle.
Oh, boy.
It has big stretches of it, like 4 or 5 inches long in the middle of the puzzle that are just a bunch of flat edges put together.
Yikes. DiCaprio's got a good point. Looking at the box of the puzzle is cheating. You can study it for 2 minutes per season, and that's it. I didn't realize there was rules.
Well, I typically just go and find pieces that are of the same color and start putting them together. And then try to work it out on my own, but you have to have the puzzle to know where stuff goes. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but why? When the puzzle's already trying to make it hard mode, like in the old days when puzzles were easy, I could see that. Add your own level of difficulty. When you have one that isn't even like the picture they provide you, nah. All bets are off. I'm looking at the picture.
Pete says, hello. Do you wash your minis beforehand? And typically we don't, unless there's a bunch of dust on them.
No.
But that's if they were sitting or something like that, Pete.
Yeah, we have a lot that are over in like a room that is just a big closet for all of our minis. And if they're sitting over there and have already been built, we'll blow them off so that they don't have dust. But there's no need to clean your minis nowadays. You might get, like, if you buy a resin bust from a company that doesn't do very good molding, and it has white dust all over it from the mold release, then you might need to rinse it. But don't ever, and you can take this to heart, I would say don't ever, and I've been doing this for over 45 years, don't ever wash your miniatures or models with any type of soap. Nothing. Don't do it. Do not fast go. Do not collect $200.
Even resin models?
Don't wash any of them with soap.
Why do people do that?
Well, because we clean everything with soap. So they figure if I got to wash it, I might as well use soap.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If you have to rinse a model, rinse it with warm water, no soap, and dry it thoroughly before starting to paint it. But do not use cleaners of any type. Unless you're like stripping it. If it already has paint on it, you're trying to clean it off to repaint it, then you have to use a paint stripper probably. But
Papa Chicken says, I know that typically when you move up in scale, you get a better opportunity to show textures, but I'm not sure where to go when moving from Battletech to painting Gunpla. Just more detailed weathering ?
You can. I mean, the Gundam stuff is literally a world full of variation. You can do them all pristine, shiny plastic like so many of the people in that collector world do. They do them like they're brand new. You can do like I do and pose them and treat them like World War II figures and, completely beat them up and do weathering techniques on them. World's your oyster. They're a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, it's a big Battletech mini, so treat it that way. You don't really have to worry too much.
Jason, what pressure are you using and what needle size?
23 psi, 0.3 needle. Always. It'll never change. Well, I have a 0.2 needle that I'll use for detail on stuff occasionally, but the pressure never changes. It's meant to be 22, but I think this got bumped, and so now it's... oh, no, it's 22.
Togadon, 2 months. Thank you so much. Dr. Rhino, what's going on?
It's at 22 psi.
Pistol Whip says, you mentioned people have trouble with your primer unthinned because their airbrush is dirty. What is your preferred cleaning technique?
I'll show you. I'm doing it right now. You take your airbrush, take one of these eye wash bottles, right? Squirt the eye wash bottle, no finger on the trigger. You're not putting air through the airbrush as you're doing this. You just want to use the squeeze pressure of the eye wash bottle and squirt in there. You'll notice that as you leave paint in there, you'll get a ring of paint built up around the cup. So I'll take a napkin and get in there and get that ring of paint out. Again, never pulling the trigger, never pushing air through the airbrush. Then I come back in and I'll squirt out again because some of that hard paint that was starting to dry might have fallen down in the body of the brush. So again, just kind of squirt water in there, fill the cup up, dump it out. I'll do that 8 or 9 times. Right. Then I'll take a look at it, make sure there's no solids, fill it one last time, and then we'll start spraying it out on the paper towel. This is the general maintenance way of switching between colors, right?
Yeah.
Let that whole cup of water flow through here. Then do that a couple more times. Generally between that, I'll dump some out just in case I've loosened up any paint that's in there. If you've either been painting for a long time or have left your brush alone for a long time, you probably ought to run some water through it beforehand anyway. Again, just keep doing this. A lot of people will say to cover this and pull the trigger back, but when you have liquid in the cup, I don't recommend doing that because the back pressure could go through the seal that's here.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And start ruining your seal early. And that's it. Just keep doing that until when I spray on the paper towel, I get no black. And you'll see, if you can zoom in.
Yeah.
You'll see you get little speckles as you keep cleaning it like this, because running the water through there is loosening up any paint that might have started to dry on the side walls of the airbrush or around the nozzle and needle. Full pressure. I've got the trigger all the way back when I'm doing this. And just run it until you're out of water. Right, so that was pretty clean there at the end. I'll take the nozzle cap off.
Mm-hmm.
Should pull the needle out, but I'm not going to. And always check here too, because this little piece, right, needs to make sure that it doesn't have any paint around the opening, or it'll kind of constrict the aperture there, that little hole.
Uh-huh.
It'll constrict that if there's paint around it and oblong it, make it elliptical, or turn it to where it's not round. So you want to make sure there's nothing there. So kind of squirt that off and wipe it with the paper towels. It's easy. There shouldn't be a lot of paint there, and there shouldn't ever be paint on the inside of this thing. If there's paint on the inside of it, then you have a problem where you're either not tightening this enough, a bent needle, something wrong mechanically with the brush if you have paint on the inside of the nozzle cap. That should always be clean, right? It's only that the paint kind of flaps against the front of this as it comes out, and you'll get paint buildup on there. Make sure that the needle is clean. Doesn't have any buildup on the tip of the needle. If you've had tip dry or anything like that, you should be checking that as you go. And then that's good to go. That's ready to spray the next color. Do that after every color, that same process. And you'll have a lot easier time when you go to do a deep clean. And a deep clean, the only difference that I would do is I would take the nozzle off and I would use the little pipe cleaners and an old needle. So I have the little airbrush pipe cleaning kit.
Uh-huh.
And you would put this in there, put the nozzle on it, rotate the nozzle around on the brush to get the sidewalls cleared. And then get an old needle If you don't have one, just bite the bullet and buy yourself an airbrush needle that you don't plan on using. It can be generally a 0.3 is the best because it'll work in all the brushes.
Yeah.
To clean the nozzle, and you can just slightly hold the nozzle in your hand and use the needle that you don't plan. Eventually, you'll have a bent one. So I use an old needle that doesn't work anymore, and I scrape the inside of the nozzle out with it very lightly to get any buildup of dried paint in there, because you'll think your airbrush is clean because when you pull the trigger, it won't spray out any color. It'll be clear water. But what's happened is that the paint has dried around the circumference of the inside of the nozzle, constricting it. So every layer of paint that dries on the inside there makes the hole smaller. And as the hole gets smaller, you start to get more turbulence out of the end of the nozzle because it's constricted. So the paint flow, the air that's going around the outside of the nozzle is trying to pull a certain amount of paint out, but you're not able to deliver that kind of paint for how far back you pulled the needle. So your spray won't match your pull, and it'll flutter that paint at the end of the nozzle too. So, because it will never constrict uniformly. It'll be, elliptical. And so you'll have more paint coming out of one side of the nozzle than the other. Don't do it.
And you don't recommend really using any of that other solution besides water, right? Like airbrush cleaner, like alcohol or whatever it is. You don't recommend doing that typically.
No. Nope, I don't. I just use water. If I have to deep clean, like we have a brush that I left with paint in it. So when that happens and I have to do a deep clean, then I will use like simple green and water and soak it. But I don't do it in alcohol or anything like that. I don't like the electrosonic or whatever the ultrasonic cleaners either. Because they use such cheap chrome on airbrushes these days, if you put it in the ultrasonic, it'll start stripping the chrome off eventually. So then when you have the chrome start coming off, you have a bigger problem with your brush. Especially on things like the chrome over brass, if you have a nozzle that's chromed, things like that. So you got to be very careful with that.
Now, somebody's asking, which factions are these from?
This is from the Uroni faction.
Okay. Mondays, what's going on? Source says, is there an actual reason for why most airbrushes have the trigger on the top? It seems like a stupid design decision to me.
When you go to a dual action airbrush, the top trigger allows you to, in theory, have a better control over the air and paint mixture. But we're talking about a tool that, came from the photo editing world. When we're looking at these designs and things. And so the top trigger is just an old throwback. There were old trigger pistol grips too back in the beginning of time. But the reality is that a lot of people were doing photo retouching with inks. And when doing photo retouching and that kind of graphic design, you need that hairline quality and being able to keep the button depressed for air and pulled back for color. And there's a world where technically it creates an elliptical machine here, a lever, so that you can vary your air pressure at each length of pull on that lever of getting color out. And but the reality about doing that for acrylics is almost nil. Like you just won't get acrylics to act that way because they're too viscous. Whereas with inks and lower viscosity paints, you might have seen a difference in the flow of the paint out of the brush. With acrylics and what we do, you won't. So I use, typically I use a top trigger, but.
Swifter Bear, thank you so much. 14 months. Pistol Whip says, I'm having some trouble with Pro Acryl White Primer Ultra 2 using an Ultra 2024 5 needle. It sprays on chalkier than the black. Any tips? Increase PSI. You said don't add thinner on the previous. By the way, thank you for your incredible products. Your paint stopped me from giving up on mini painting.
Wow, thank you. That's
huge.
Awesome.
Nice.
The white as a matte finish, if you're doing white on the model that's just over the plastic and you're saying it appears chalk, because I'm using the white right now over black, right?
Yeah.
No thinning. Same thing.
Right.
22, 23 PSI. And you shouldn't. Now, white might appear chalkier because it's a higher contrast paint than the black, right? but it shouldn't give you anything that exists through to make the model not work right. I think a lot of people, when they look at matte paints, they tend to think, oh my gosh, it has a texture to it, that's going to ruin my model, and it won't at all. But they do have a texture, that's what makes them matte. So, I don't know, there's nothing that makes it any try. Zoom in real close.
Yeah.
Right? This is the type finish you should get. Is that, can you
Mm-hmm.
dial the focus in a bit?
Let me zoom. There we go.
There you go. Right, so you can see it kind of speckle because it's going over the darker base. It'll speckle like that when it goes over gray plastic and stuff, but that's nothing that will add texture to your paint when you put it on, unless you're just going over it with, you know, like clear ink or something, you know, something that's highly, highly translucent. So it should give you a really good finish for painting over.
Yeah.
All of these are the same with the way that I've done the zenithal. You know, you get a good matte finish, and you get a slight speckling because it's going over black, but there's no texture to it that will change the way my paint looks at the end, right? When you're done, nothing inherits that texture.
Oh, those yellow eyes, I didn't see you do those. Those came out great.
Yeah, we did a lot of the detailing stuff on Wednesday.
Nice.
On Wednesday stream.
Yeah, the yellow eyeballs are cool.
I got to finish all that. But yeah, thinning won't change that anyway. So even if you did thin it, that won't change anything having to do with texture. It'll lower the viscosity and make the paint, you know, have to do more layers, and doing more layers could be what's delivering more texture. Right? You want to be able to prime your model in, say, I say 3 layers. I don't know that that's always true, but I always say 3 layers is what you should be looking at getting out of your airbrush to get the color on the model. Now, when I'm zenithal highlighting like this, all bets are off because I'll go over the same area 3 or 4 times to brighten it up the way I want to, because I'm not just priming right now, I'm adding value.
Choker of Chicken says, thank you. So this is the best practice for all PA paints. Put them directly into hopper for airbrushes, question mark?
I mean, you can thin any of the normal paints. The primer, we put it right in the brush.
Yeah, and typically, Choker, he doesn't thin. You don't really thin out your airbrush. I'm sorry, your paints going into the airbrush typically, unless you're doing a specific effect or something, right?
I mean, I will start to use thinner on my brighter colors for sure. As we go from darker to lighter, I will start to thin the colors down because I don't want to have them overtake. But generally, I don't thin my base coats.
Yeah.
Because I want them, you know, to be nice and vibrant. And then I usually don't thin my midtones. It's only when I go to that first bright color that I start to thin. And the reason for that is that you start creating more contrast with your bright colors. And as you do so, you're going to see, like, you might see the speckling from the airbrush. You might not get the blending you want if you go with full opacity on your bright highlight colors. So I will always start thinning my highlights. But I could have painted, you know, in some cases, I might have painted 4 or 5 colors before I start thinning. Just depends on the model and what I'm doing. The paints are not airbrush paints as such, though, so I don't want to confuse people. This is a technique thing, not a paint thing. I would do the same with any paint that would allow me to. Most paints don't because they're too thick.
Yeah.
Right? So most paints are too thick out of the bottle to just airbrush with. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It just means that you have to dilute them. Our goal with Pro-Acryl was always to give you the color that would give you vibrancy, no matter how you used it. So I don't want to have you dilute it just because you decided you wanted to airbrush. I want you to be able to use the airbrush and get good vibrancy out of the colors too.
Shadowcast, 10 months. Thank you so much. And Shadowcast has a question. So I'm going about getting some Napoleonic 28 mil Brits.
Awesome.
I'm wondering what reds you would recommend for the jackets.
Oh, geez. You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know historic colors. How rivet countery are you trying to be? And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense.
Napoleonic Brits.
I do not know. I would say that you're probably in the realm where the bold pyro red and the burnt red underneath it give you a really, really good red that you can weather how you like.
Shadowcast says not very. Okay, so you're not very picky.
Yeah, then I think the burnt red into bold pyro red is the standard for when I'm doing things like that.
Dr. Rhino,
I'm about to do some historical Barons War minis.
Nice.
And so it's Norman Knights. And for like the colors on them, that's what I would do for reds, you know. But again, I don't know color schemes. If I'm hanging out with people that are really big into historics, a lot of times they're talking to me in language I don't understand because they're all talking about, oh no, that was da 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 color, and that's not the correct purple. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, correct.
You're talking to a guy that painted my early war French in brown overcoats when everybody else paints them in like Space Wolves gray. And I'm like, oh well, I like brown. So my French are dirty.
Little Billy says, real question, not a Chris compliment. Jason, what's your solution to painting over stripped layers of glaze? Striped layers of glaze. I was impatient yesterday and tore through some of my glaze and tried to cover it up with a thicker coat, but it's just a foobar, so I stripped it. Painting over layers of glaze.
I'm not understanding.
Layers of glaze.
You're telling me what you did. You're asking me how to do something to not have to do what you did? Are you asking me how to avoid it in the future?
Yeah.
Help me out. Because I need to know better what it is that caused the problem.
Stripped layers of glaze? Yeah.
Stripped layers of glaze means that doesn't make sense to me. When you were glazing, you lifted the paint underneath?
Oh, Little Billy says, yes, paint tears. So essentially, how do you deal with paint tears?
Well, paint tearing comes from working too wet. And you can do that with the active color. So the paint that you're using on your brush right now, you could be layering too wet and going back over it before it's had time to adhere, right? So, you know, I always say when glazing, you put one coat on and don't worry about how it looks. You stop at one coat. So you cover an area with the glaze that you're doing and then you move to another area. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You stop. Because if you go back and say, oh, that doesn't look the way I want it to, I need to add more, then you're going to tear the paint because you're working wet, right, already. And so the paint needs longer to get that first adhesion on. So that's the biggest thing that most people run into. Tearing the paint happens when you do that. Or if you don't let the layer underneath dry enough and then you go very wet over the top of it. Like if I'm airbrushing these base coats on here and then I were to go over this with a glaze, that would be a problem because I would need to let the airbrush set up longer if I plan on putting very wet paint over it, which I do. So we'll do this and then we'll go work on some of the other models. Then we'll come back and put color on these.
Rucket, no, they're not coming for me. Cops aren't coming for me. You can hear this. Yeah, I know. We're right next to a fire station, so they can't find me in here.
I mean, they could.
Well,
so far we haven't told them where he is. But
can they? Yes. Will they? TBD.
All it takes is one call from us, Chris. Remember that.
Hey, I get 3 meals a day.
You remember that.
I'll meet some great guys. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm my own worst enemy, says Little Billy. I got to learn to wait.
Yep. Patience is the key when you start doing advanced techniques with painting. You can no longer go fast. That's why I do not like the idea of tutorials that tell you how to paint things in 10 minutes. Because the thing that they never talk about is patience. And patience in this art form is absolutely key to your success. Can you paint a miniature and make it look good? No, you can't in 10 minutes. I don't care who you are. Can you take an hour and finish a mini? Sure. Right? Once you get an understanding of how to get the colors to look the way you need to quickly, then yeah. But when you watch people, let's say you grow up thinking that way and you're using speed paints and everything's based around paint faster so you can play more games. Well, let's go back to the reality that the average wargamer plays about 3 full games a year. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Right.
The average war gamer.
Right.
Yeah, like the casual player.
That's the average of everybody.
Yeah.
That includes tournament players and everything.
Yeah, I guess.
And now
that's
the
true.
tournament players bring the average up. So think about that, because there's way fewer tournament players than there are casuals.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I always argue is that nobody plays that many games to have to paint so fast that you mess up your minis. So take your time, be patient, right? You'll get there, right? Slow and steady wins the race. And if you start with things like speed paint and you want to learn to paint fast, compartmentalize that so that when you go to these new techniques, you don't fall victim to like what Little Billy's saying, where you're just trying to get it done quick. Because you're used to paint, you just put this on and that does that. And I move on to the next piece, next piece, next piece. I'm constantly putting paint on the model because the speed paint method means that I'm always painting a new part of the model. I'm never going back over that first part until the whole thing's done. Then maybe I do a wash or dry brush it or something all when it's finished. But even then I watch people that use speed paints go back and put a dry brush over the top and tear the speed paint, right? So, because they're moving too fast. So you just got to slow down.
Yeah.
Honestly, slow down, especially when glazing. Because remember, you're working with water-based paints that while they dry to the touch very quickly, still need 24 hours to cure.
Yeah.
That resin needs to cure until it becomes the complete film that it's intended to be, that gains its strength, 24 hours minimum, right? Now, you can work with it much sooner, but if you put a lot of water, a lot of liquid over the top of a paint that isn't fully cured, the chance of tearing it goes out of the roof, right? Like I said, with this airbrushing puts paint on in a very fine misted manner. So the paint doesn't have the ability to adhere like it does if you put it on with a big brush sloppily and there's a lot of paint there. So you got to be careful when you airbrush a surface first, whether it's the primer layer or it's color. Like a lot of people will airbrush their primer on and then immediately start painting, right? You watch me do it, but watch how I paint when I do that. I do not put glazes and dry brushing and speed paints right over the top of my primer when I'm just done priming it, because it'll tear the primer right off the model, because you're cleaning the paint off because you're putting too much liquid on there. That other liquid just happens to also be paint. So you have to think of it in that way. Have to let each layer have enough time to dry and then work that layer properly for the length of time you've given it to dry. So if you're doing like me on stream and you prime these models and immediately start painting them, you need to immediately start painting them with unthinned paint, or as close to unthinned paint as you can, over the top of the color so that you're getting good adhesion the whole time. If I were to dry brush over the top, or if I were to tape off a black primered tank to put hazard stripes on it, and I just got the primer down, all bets are off. Don't call me and tell me the primer doesn't work. You know,
you just didn't take your time. Didn't wait. Didn't have enough time. What color should I paint Azeroth? The Graham, I was just asking you, what is that? And
he's the Blood Angel guy.
It's kind of, you were saying, like, you were mentioning a little bit down in the comments, you were saying red. Jason definitely is a master of painting trim.
When he says trim, it's going to be the gold.
Yeah, so then you said mainly red, Valtteri, so I want to make sure.
Yeah, because if you've done the armor on him on red and you plan on doing the gold, if you're just wanting to know the colors of gold, I like our either the magnesium or the dark bronze underneath, like rich gold. And then the rich gold's going to be a little bit orange. So then I usually use like either the light bronze or the white gold as a highlight mixer, because it takes a little bit of the heat away from the gold. But that can look great. Just depends on how orange and yellow do you want the gold to look. Right? When you watch me paint gold, a lot of times I desaturate my golds to where they still have enough yellow to get the point of gold across. Now these are non-metallic, but you know, when doing something like this, you know, I desaturate them with the bright pale yellow and such, so that the shine takes away a lot of that fake gold look, in my opinion. And then when doing metallics, I do this, which is magnesium with the golds over the top.
Yep.
And then the white gold. I like this. It's dirtier. It doesn't look the same bright yellowy gold like the picture that Chris brought up of Azeroth, but
Azeroth. Jason, I have a question about Noosh. Any reason why I wouldn't want to use it for wet blending? Says red, green, blue, hex.
No. The only reason I would say is that you could use the glaze wash medium to wet blend and get almost the same effect. It won't open the paint up as much as Noosh will. But remember that Noosh is also formulated to move on the model. It's not meant to stay put. It only stays put in the areas that you can't reach when you're wiping it off, right? So when you go to wet blend with it, you might find your paint moving too much if you use too much liquid all at once. So make sure you're not, pushing really hard with it, because it'll wet blend like a dream. We have lots of people that do that and swear by it. It wouldn't be my first choice, right? I typically don't use mediums when I wet blend, but if you want to have the paint feel a little bit more like oils, then Noosh would be great. Just remember to kind of put the colors on there, let them sit for a minute, and then wet blend them. Don't put them on and wet blend like you would with water, because you may move the paint too much, and you might open up back down to your primer or something like that.
Stan says, following this, how do you keep motivation on a model you've tried to work up on and it hasn't worked? How would you advise to not get discouraged and put the model back on the shelf?
Great question. The first thing I would say is don't worry about getting discouraged. I don't like the word discouraged, but don't worry about putting it back on the shelf. I think it is a very positive thing to be proactive about deciding when you're not happy with a thing and walk away from it and go do something else. So I have a lot of projects on the desk, right? So if I'm painting this guy and I get sick of the details at the end of it, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to paint any more doohickeys on him. I can either do what I'm doing now, which is move to another set of models that are going to be different colors, right? Or I could start doing the base on it. If you don't like the way the colors turned out, then moving to another model is a big help. Because going and putting paint on something that becomes more methodical, where you don't have necessarily a new technique, go paint a model that you already know what you're going to do with, and you know what's going to be right. Get going on that, and then as you start making progress on that, it'll open your brain back up to the creativity that you need, because it'll be monotonous, and you'll open back up to kind of knowing or coming up with ideas that could help you get out of the rut on the model you weren't happy with. What could you change, this and that. But don't ever worry about putting it on the shelf. Don't beat yourself up thinking you have to succeed with that thing that's in front of you. Today I was drawing a pencil on paper drawing, and for a character design for a miniature that we want to come out with. And as I'm working through these iterative processes, there's a lot of eraser marks on that paper, right? When the eraser marks get to the point I'm not having fun anymore, I put the paper away, right? I put it off to the side and either stop drawing or start working on something else. Right? Because it means that the idea is fighting itself in my head, is the way I think of it. And I don't have a problem putting it down for a minute.
Rocco says, so I should use the glaze medium when I'm wet blending?
You could.
And struggled with it. Okay. You're struggling.
What were you struggling with, Rocco? Yeah, you don't always got to finish. Well, and if you want to paint, like especially when you have limited time to paint, because a lot of people have a limited section of time where they put, I'm going to go paint right now. And you might go try something new. Maybe you want to try a new technique that you've seen somebody do, or you've got a new color scheme that you're going to do on a model that you're excited about. You start getting the colors on there, it doesn't feel good. Well, rather than using your short time to paint that is meant to be your hobby good feeling time, wasting it fighting something that doesn't feel right, I think it's better to immediately go, okay, I'm going to put that down. That didn't work the way I thought it was, and then pick up something else. So always go into each time with 2 projects minimum that you can work on. Always. For me right now, it's paint the model in front of me or build new ones, because I have 50 million models, right? So this weekend when we came up here and John was like, yeah, let's build some models, we just sat down and built, But if I get to a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm not enjoying painting right now, go build. Go listen to a book, a fantasy or sci-fi book, something like that. Red green, yeah, that's the greatest thing, is that we don't design our mediums with any particular product in mind. So long as it's a water-based acrylic, you should work fine and get great results. You're struggling to get clean blends when wet blending. The colors still have defined lines. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. I think this would be a good thing. I'm not going to do it in a way that Chris wants me to, because wet blending is a bigger setup to do a video on. But if I can show you some stuff, right? Let's get, I have up here that I can, like the other side of this wing, right? We did this one with the Just Do This video.
Yeah.
Right? Where we got that blend that looks wet blended, but it was just layers.
That's just layers, right?
That's just layers. So that looks like, like Payne's gray into burnt red, let's say, right? So let's grab Payne's gray and burnt red. They're not going to look exactly the same because I'm going to do them totally different way, but let's grab those 2 colors and start playing with that. So Payne's gray and burnt red. Now let's say we wanted to blend those 2 as a base coat. First thing I would tell you with wet blending, try to restrain from thinking you're going to wet blend a base coat and a final coat, right? So you're not wet blending to get like your shadow and your mid-tone to look perfect so that all you have to do is go in and highlight. Right? What you're doing with wet blending is setting up a good base coat that goes from a shadow, typically because the way I paint, I go from dark to light. So for me, use wet blending as a way to get your shadow and your low mid-tone done all in one go, right? So like on skin, I would do dark purple and dark flesh, right? I'm not doing dark purple, or maybe I'm doing dark purple and shadow flesh. So then in the middle, I get that kind of dark skin tone, but I'm never getting a true shadow flesh, right? I am getting real dark purple because what I'm trying to do is make that base coat easier for me. So first things first, you know, I don't usually tell people to go with a super bright color, but you know, you can. That's why I'm going to use the Payne's Gray and the Burnt Red rather than like a Pyro Red. So I'll put paint out on the palette. Wet blending can be fairly wasteful, and by that I mean that you are going to use a lot of paint on the brush each time. If you don't have a lot of paint on the brush, you wind up tearing, but you just have to kind of get used to this, right? So no pre-highlight, so these dark colors are going to turn out very, very dark. So no medium at all. I'm just going to use water on my brush. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure my brush is flexible, get some water on it. Not glaze style water, but enough to have a sheen to the brush, right? It's not going to leave big droplets of water, but it is wet. Okay? I'm going to go over and get the Payne's Gray. I'm going to get my dark color first. And that can be a preference for you, whatever you want to do. Let's do it out here away from that other blend. Right? So I'm going to section this off. I'm going to do each panel of this wing different, right? So there you go. Put some wet paint on there. Immediately go clean my brush and get some of the burnt red. And then I'm going to put the burnt red in here, right, starting up high, and I'm going to push the burnt red down into the Payne's Gray, right? And I'm going to work it almost all the way down to the base of the Payne's Gray, and then I'm going to start pulling it back up. Okay. Can you zoom in close on that?
Yeah. Very focused. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Oh.
That gives you a really good blend. Then I'm going to go in and do the same thing over here. I'm going to put Payne's Gray on this panel. Then I'm going to rinse my brush off real quick. You might keep two brushes around for this if you want, right? And again, just kind of put my burnt red up here, right? And you see me kind of working this circular motion, push my burnt red all the way down to the bottom of the Payne's Gray and then pull it back up. That one overtook the Payne's Gray because I didn't have as much paint down there. So I'll do the same thing. I'll put the Payne's Gray a little bit more down here and just kind of work it wet up into the other color. Just kind of go clean the brush off so I don't have that color. Now my brush is back to being clean so I can work the area in between a little bit better. And just keep working it back and forth until you get what you like, right? You might want to push a little bit more red down in there. Put a little bit more blue. Because each time you're adding a little bit, but you don't want to add so much paint, you put a texture on the model, right? But then wipe your brush clean, right? I just wipe it on the paper towel to where it's clean enough, right? To where you're not getting a ton of color out of it before you go back in. And then on this area where you see how there's kind of a line there, an S line there, then you can go back in and you can kind of hit that line because your brush now doesn't have too much of any one color on it. It can go back and blend those areas together like that. And just a very light brush stroke and you'll be able to blend that back. You know, and the neat thing is when you do it like this, like ours, I can still go in with a little bit of red over here if I want, and I can still push some red into this.
Yeah.
Right. And this is with no medium at all, right? Imagine the flexibility you get when you start using either the Noosh or the glazed wash medium, right? That I can just come in here and still get that to open up and put some more red on there if I want, to make those match a little bit better if that's what I'm looking for.
Cool.
But the big key, if I have to tell you any one kind of silver bullet with wet blending, and I talk about it, we have a video over on YouTube where I do a base real quick. And the biggest thing, if I could just find one flat surface and these two colors so you can see it on a shape that isn't isn't curved would help. Back of that. No, has color. I do not have anything. Do you have another warrior over there? I had warriors over there. I don't have any warriors. The axe is what I'm looking for, so I don't care. Right. So to do the axe here, where it's a little bit more flat, so you can see what I'm doing.
Yep.
Right. Again, just
Very
put
zoomed in.
the blue
Uh-huh.
kind of right here along a line. Right. Just pile up a lot of blue. Then I rinse my brush real quick. You are on a clock, right? Because I'm not using any medium. Now I've rinsed my brush to where it barely has any paint on it. Then I come back over here and grab the red. And then I go the red out to the extremity where I want the red. Oh, that was not enough paint. That was all water. Grab this out to the extremity where I want it. And then kind of work it into the blue. Again, I call this squibbing. I'll squib it down to the base of the blue and then I'll pull it back out. Right? Then I have to rinse my brush because now I have a mix of those two colors on here. So to do the other side, I have to rinse the brush again, get that color out. Then come over here and grab this burnt red that I had and squib it all the way down into there and then pull it out too. Right? And very messy. Got this little line in between here. Right? And very messily, in very little time, you can get a blend worked up here. Right? And that's with acrylics and no medium. So what I'm hoping to show you is that you can add the glaze wash medium, add some dry time. The Noosh adds a lot of dry time, right? And you can get a really nice blend going on with very little effort.
Yeah.
And then this becomes your base coat to then go in with, you know, I mean, right now you can imagine, these are horrible colors for this, but you can imagine once this dries, you can, because you've altered both of these colors a little bit, you can go back in and you can edge highlight with just the burnt red on this, right? I could go back and use both of these colors, the dark purple to deepen the shadows and the burnt red to start doing my highlights with, right? Because it's brighter than the mixed color. So it would allow me to do some fun stuff in that regard. But you need to give it a lot of time to dry. We put a lot of paint on here. We moved it around. I messed it up with the tip of the brush there. And can still blend it out and fix it. But you can see there's a lot of wet paint here.
Yeah.
So that'll keep you from seeing any lines in your paint. Your colors won't band if you do it like that. A little bit where the red is a little intense right here, so we can come in and kind of blend that. But again, I've touched the paint and blended it now, so the color on the tip of my brush is now a blended color. So every time I work on a piece of the model, I got to go back and rinse my brush off, because then if I want to come over here and kind of move the blue around, now I have more blue on the brush. I got to go rinse it. So it's a very, very tiring process when you think about it, because you never can touch the model twice with the same brush. As soon as you blend and pull out, you have to go rinse your brush, then go blend or tweak that blend, because you can imagine pushing the bright color, in this case they're both dark, but you can push the dark color into the blue and then you can pull it back out, right? And now your blend is the color out somewhere here. So you can't take that blended color that's in your midtone and go touch the brush in your shadow again, because now you put that midtone color into the shadow and that's going to mess the blend up. So the hardest thing is to stay good with your, what would you call it? Not being deliberate, being, I don't know what the right term is. You just have to be cognizant of the fact that every time you go and do a part of your blend, go rinse your brush, get it back to being a cleanish brush, and then you can go work the same paint. You don't need to add more paint all the time. You can go work the same area of paint, but you need your brush to be clean so that it actually just gets the paint in that area that's blending. Otherwise, you will band your color. You can see as this dries that that's actually really cool. Intentional. Yeah, you have to be very intentional with it.
Sazzle's got a question for you.
You've been trying out glaze and wash medium in an empty watercolor brush pen. Do you think you would work for wet blending or feathering? Sazzle, how do you mean? You've been trying out glaze and wash
thinking
medium
of trying out
with color or by itself?
Yeah, you thinking about just using it.
You're mixing it with a color and then putting it in a pen?
Or are you going to use the glaze and wash just as a blending agent?
I think what I struggle with more is after I wet blended burnt red into dark plum, I tried to then blend pyrrole red into the burnt red, and that's where your defined lines were. Yeah, doing 3 colors becomes even more challenging. You need to be able to section your model off. Can you do it? Yes. I've shown wet blending with 4 colors, but you're going to have the mixed colors available to you. You can't just, because if you do burnt red, dark plum, you're going to get a blend in between those two. You need to leave yourself a spot that stays pure burnt red so that you can go and add more burnt red to move into pyrrole red, right? So your blend needs to go from dark plum, the mixed color, burnt red, the mixed color with pyrrole red, and pyrrole red. Your middle color you have to leave there. Your other colors don't have to be there. Like the dark plum may not ever be true dark plum. It might be the mix of 80% dark plum and burnt red, depending on how far you push the burnt red into it for your wet blend, and then pull it back out. But you have to have an area that is pure burnt red, right? Because you have to have a start and stop point to go into pyrrole red. And otherwise you have to mix the dark plum and the burnt red. If you never get back to pure burnt red, you have to mix dark plum and burnt red to then mix with your pyrrole red. You understand? Because you either have to make that demarcation where burnt red lives on the model and then blends either way into the other colors. Think of it like that. So that you have a place to actually physically put your burnt red paint to then blend it into the other colors. And you always start your blend from that middle color when doing 3 colors. Always. You can't put the burnt red down and then push the pyrrole into it and then pull it back, because you'll push the burnt red into your blended dark plum. You have to put your dark plum down, put your burnt red down, and push it over into dark plum, and then pull it back out and leave a band of the burnt red. And then the other way, put your pyrrole red where you want it and put more burnt red down and push it out into your pyrrole red and bring it back to that area right before the burnt red, so that you're right in the middle is the burnt red. And then you take a little bit of just a clean brush and squib it together in the middle so you don't have a racing stripe of burnt red. With color on the top and pressing the medium through the pen. I wasn't sure if the medium can move from the reservoir through the top of the brush pen. I don't know. I've never done that.
You could always try it. Give it a whirl. This is a good question. Choker of chickens.
Choker. So medium is clear paint in all intent and purposes. Some of them aren't clear. Like our metallic medium is a clear color that has metal flake in it. So you can add it to other colors to turn them into metallics. But it doesn't really alter the color of that paint. The metallic does, because it brightens the paint up, so it makes it look lighter colored. It doesn't actually lighten it. It's just the metal flake shine makes the color look lighter. But mediums can do all sorts of things like thicken or thin your paint. Technically, water is a medium, right? Water is the solvent that we use in water-based acrylics. So with water as a medium, you're lowering the viscosity of your paint and making it more watery by adding water, and also thinning the opacity out. So I use water as my medium of choice 99.9% of the time. Our glazed wash medium is a thin version of our paint that dries to a matte finish. It has the viscosity of our paint, so it still feels like paint. It just has no color. So when you use it to thin your paint, made specifically for glazing and making washes out of it, it does not reduce the viscosity of the paint. Because when we talk about thinning, you're talking about 2 different things. Viscosity, which is how thick the paint is, right? So if your paint starts at a very high thickness and you put water into it, it drags the thickness down very quickly to it becomes more watery, right? So that's viscosity. So sometimes you want to thin for viscosity, right? Unfortunately, thinning for viscosity means that you're also thinning for opacity. As you put more medium into it to make it run more like water, you're also lowering the opacity. You're thinning the color out. And so the other type of thinning is thinning the color. But when you thin color, you don't always want to thin your viscosity, right? Just because I want to put a translucent color over a base doesn't necessarily mean that I want that color to be runny. I still want it to act like paint. So the glazed wash medium allows you to thin the color so that you can see through it without thinning the paint's viscosity so it doesn't become runny. It still feels like paint. because you're basically putting a clear paint with a colored paint, which is mixing the two, which is making the colored paint semi-clear, right? But it still feels like paint, and you can use it like paint. It doesn't go into the crevices. It goes right where you want it. That's what the glazed wash medium is for, right?
Brent's watching the Surfer Girl series. So the model I'm working on is Sheila the Thief from the 80s D&D cartoon, and her clothes is pink and purple. Based on blues being more of a masculine undertone, I wanted to use royal purple, but she has a purple cloak. Is this case, would you recommend the shadow undercoat? What would you recommend for the shadow undercoat for something that's purple?
There's a lot of schools of thought here. I tend to not care if the model's going to have, well, I can't say that, because like when we painted the Hulk, because he had purple pants, we shaded him with blue. So the overall shadow would still be better off as a blue. Just do not leave the blue pronounced in areas like the jaw of the model, and you'll be fine. Because women's flesh, the only thing that we draw the visual connotation with the blue on the jawline as 5 o'clock shadow. It tends to gray the skin color out in that cool tone and make it look like there's facial hair about to grow in. That's the only place that I really say you got to watch out. Maybe the underarms too, but I mean, women have hair in their underarms too, so it doesn't really matter. But, any place like that is the only place you don't want the blue to really come shining through, right? But I would still use, dark blue, Payne's gray, something like that. That way you have a nice undercoat for your purple that ties it together, rather than purple for your purple that ties it together with the skin, because then it can make it look like the purple's reflecting onto the skin. That's the thing I try to avoid. When I have a part of the model that's pronounced that's going to be purple, let's say, I won't use purple as my base coat for all the other colors, unless I'm trying to make the whole thing very monochromatic, like it's in a purple cloud, and everything's got that purple hue to it for a reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't do that. I would choose another color like blue, or dark plum, or something like that would work too. Dark plum might be a really good choice, because dark plum would give you a version of a very dark purple, but would appear under your underpainting as more of a reddish.
Oh. I don't know about that one, Stan. This is
it's a family show.
It's a family show.
Little Billy says, after using Pro for song, I realized yesterday that your magnesium did not have a shaker bead. I'm so accustomed to the clicky clack that it felt off once I shook it. Oh no! Stop eating the shaker beads.
Stop eating the shaker beads.
There probably are a random paint every now and then that will unfortunately get missed on the automated machine. We can say for real that we had fewer misses and problems like that when everything was done by hand.
Yeah. That's kind of the...
I'm not saying that the humans didn't miss a shaker ball or two. Usually what happened in that case is you got two.
Yeah, you got two shaker balls.
When we were doing it by hand, you got more.
Right.
The automated machine every now and then will, like one bottle in 1,000, it'll forget to drop the bead. So
Carl Duty, looking to invest in glass pile. How do you clean them and how often? We put ours in a 5-gallon bucket with Dawn dish soap. Not sponsored.
Brutal
And
burrito texture.
That's what you do.
Texture is very, very good, especially in a deconstructed meal like Pro-Acryl.
In a deconstructed meal like Pro-Acryl? Back to the Carl Duty. That's how often. And how often? TBD on that one. Depends. We clean ours based on project here, and I'm considering this palette all Conquest right now. So there you go. For somebody was mentioning that the palette wasn't clean for this project. This is technically the same project, isn't that right, Jason?
I mean,
technically, right?
Yeah, I give you that.
It is.
It's the Uroni project.
It's Uroni.
So yeah,
There you go.
I guess that's right. Ish.
Awkwardish says, "Please don't eat the paint." I like how serious Awkwardish got right there. Please don't do that.
Awkwardish is like, I have to butt in here, and for the well-being of the people, tell you to not listen to Jason and Chris. Actually, just me, but I'm gonna blame Chris.
I don't eat the paint.
I'm gonna say blame Chris.
I'll take the bullet.
It's Chris.
Because why not? Because someone's got to be this someone has to hold the baton. Magenta over the top. Here's a question for you, Jason. It's a longer one, so I'll let you read the full thing.
You have a weird knob shaman, you want to make that little bit of extra weird with unique shadows. So I was thinking to underpaint with dark plum, then zenithal magenta over the top on green orc skin, but I'm not sure if I'm in the right, but magenta over the top of green orc skin?
Like to get in...
Or zenithal magenta over the top of dark plum, and then green over that. I think that would look bitchin'.
I won't, Rucket. I won't. I don't need to clean it with a toothbrush because I have a whole system. Red Green Blue says, Jason, how do you feel about well palettes? Well palettes?
You know, the little cups.
Yeah, I use mine, but mine is also
I don't prefer them only because they tend to get, jammed up with so much paint, and the dried paint becomes a problem after time in a well palette if you don't clean it all the time. If you clean them all the time, I think they're great. I just am lazy and wouldn't do that, so they'll always be my nemesis, but they can work really well.
I reprime mine with gray from our rattle can.
So yours is just on a clock to when it is no longer useful.
Well, it's just becoming a flat
eventually
surface.
It'll just be a clogged piece of art on its own.
It's just a flat surface at some point.
Yeah, I think they're great. As far as like separating your paint out, they work wonders, right? I just have a problem with them because I will wind up mixing in dry paint with my wet paint all the time, which can happen on any dry palette. Even my piece of glass will do the same thing.
That Chai Cat says over plum and green over that for the orc skin.
Yeah, I think that look good. Go for it. Move ahead.
Sazzle says, when do we get Monument Hobbies burger sauce?
Huh?
You heard me. When do we get Monument Hobbies burger sauce? Zazzle, I don't know. When you send us $1 million. $1.2 million.
No, it's 10 million. And hear me out, chat.
I thought you said
Slick Willie's, feta chili, and burger sauce.
I thought you said it was 1.2 million. No, that's the question.
10 million for the restaurant. You were literally there, Chris.
No, you said 1.2 million for the question. You'll answer any question for $1.2 million.
Yes. So this one's going to cost you $1.2 million to find out you have to spend 10. That's the way it works here at Monument Hobbies. We're nothing if not...
What do you think about acrylic markers in general, Jason?
Horrible. I mean, not horrible. That's a bad way to say it. Horrible for models. They're not meant for models. I mean, they've been out for decades. They're great for flat, porous surfaces. The acrylics in them are not meant to... They're like acrylic inks, right? They come from that same brand of usage, right? And that acrylic inks are fantastic for doing on porous surfaces. They suck long-term on models because they do not have the proper resins to be able to adhere correctly and create the right film out of your paint to go on a three-dimensional surface that's going to be touched and played with and all that stuff. Now, people will argue with me saying, I've been using inks and blah, blah, blah on my models forever without a problem. And I'm like, okay, great. That's good. Anecdotally, they can work. But I don't risk it, right? When doing a paint job, I want to use paint that is made with resins that are meant to really create long-lasting films. And the pens are not. You'd be changing nibs during your paint session if that were the case, because as soon as the resin was going to dry, the paintbrush would start, the nib would stop working. And you'll see a lot of these companies will start, if they haven't already, they'll start offering replacement nibs, and everybody will get so tired of buying replacement nibs that they'll stop using the product, except for very specialty things like doing gold trim on a Heldrake. I can see it being really good for that. Anything where you can use, like, I know Rob from Spiky Bits used like the Sharpie gold pens to do the trim with. I think it would work great for that. It's just, it's self-depreciating at that point because you're ruining the product as you use the product.
Wirehead says, we use the acrylic paint markers for younger kids at the gaming club, and they're a great tool for learners.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, you can't get them into any of the nooks and crannies you need to get into as you start growing your painting, but as a beginner tool, I think it's great, right? Somebody is going to definitely feel better when you put a pen in their hand. I say that in today's day and age, do kids even use pens anymore? I feel like everything's on a computer screen, but I would come from a world where I think that putting a pen in somebody's hand is a lot more comfortable and confidence building than a brush, right? because a brush just doesn't work the same as a pen. People try to use it the same as a pen. We've talked about it here. One of the biggest problems I see with people painting is that they try to paint with the tip of the brush as if it were a pencil. And that just doesn't work, right? I mean, it can if you're doing freehand, but even with freehand, you don't want to do that. So I definitely love the concept. It's just it's not going to work to get in around a 3D surface. You know, those nibs are too hard. They're going to scratch paint off. When you start going in and trying to get deep, like how would you paint the inside of that guy's underarm to get that rope? You wouldn't. You'd scrape the paint off of everything around it, kind of like hitting the surrounding area with the ferrule of the brush if you're using too big of a brush. So
Peak says, do you have any secrets, tips, tricks for fluorescent paint set? Thinking about gifting a set for a friend.
Just remember that the goal with any fluorescent is to paint it over white. So it's going to be different in the process because you're going to usually use them later in a model's process, right? You're going to have most of the model painted, then you're going to put white on the model and paint the fluorescence over it. So, you know, think in terms of painting a plasma gun. You're going to paint the gun, and then you're going to put white on it where the plasma effect goes, and then put the fluorescent over that white.
Josh,
Because you need a bright substrate for fluorescents to really live well because they're so transparent.
Joshua Lee says, what's the plans for the Secret Sauce promo video? Jason gonna slap chop some minis, question mark?
I don't know. And that's kind of what we're doing right now, right?
Is that what you're using right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. Joshua, bam. Already done. Right in front of you. It's happening live.
Yeah, this is Secret
Promo
Sauce
video
Yellow.
activated.
Secret Sauce warm yellow right in front of your eyes. I am a sneaky bastard.
Warm yellow. Little Billy, I hope you're doing well.
He doesn't.
Peaks, I was thinking about the best for glowy bits. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the fluorescent yellow has been my favorite recently.
You used it on all your
Thunder Warriors.
your electro axes from hell.
I did.
And yeah, putting it over white is the only real trick there is. And then paint.
Zilfer says, do these Secret Sauce paints do a really good job of darkening the recesses? They look fantastic as a glaze.
I mean, yeah.
Would that be because, like, how you would? Well, no.
They're gonna. It's like to show you.
You could put like
here,
the dark blue
where,
underneath.
you know, the purple. We've been rubbing these off, but you can see like the purple and how it darkens up all the in between the scales. This is just over white primer, right? And I did a yellow on this, but I guess I went back over it. Did I? Oh, I did. I did it on this guy. I did yellow on this guy to show Tim when he had asked. But we can do it again. Like if I just put yellow on this arm, just over white, just load it up. We'll let it sit and come back and show you what it looks like over just white without a zenithal. I recommend doing a zenithal prime anytime you're doing this. That's where that whole term I hate, that slap chop thing, comes from. But underpainting is the best way to value sketch and then get the most out of your speed paints no matter what brand you're using. They just don't do a good enough job of giving you a good shadow no matter what you're doing, unless the speed paint colors are already dark. When you go to bright colors, you always want to try to do some form of a value sketch, whether it be zenithal or dry brushing it on, or however you want to. There, that's just piled on. Let me get the inside arm. No tricks, just a lot of paint.
You're slapping it on there.
Yeah, no water, just going into the pot and over here. So the brush was just a little bit damp when I started a long time ago on the other model. I haven't put it back in the water yet, so.
Twister Farmer, is Secret Sauce the final name, or what are they going to be called officially? You'll see. You'll have to wait and see.
Boom. We'll let that dry, and I'll show it to you.
No,
then you'll be able to
Secret
see the
Sauce
difference.
is not the name of these paints.
What is
It
that?
is for the time. Twisty Farmer was asking, is Secret Sauce the final name, or what are they going to be called officially? You'll have to wait and see. Mondays, I got the Pro Synthetic set, and these are the best brushes I've tried. Seems the paint flows off better than the cheap Sable brushes I have. Wanting to pick up some of the Pro Sables, but the LGS on your website are out of stock.
We have everything except, I believe, the number 2.
Yeah, don't check the sets. You can actually go in there. Make sure you're doing brush singles, by the way.
Yeah, with our paints and brushes, once you add a certain number to the cart, you get the same discount as if you bought the set. If we're out of a single brush size that's keeping the set from being in stock, you can still go buy all the other sizes. And when you get to 4 brushes or 8 paints, same thing for paints.
4 brushes and 8 paints.
Then you get the discount. It's called the Build Your Own Set Bundle.
Here says, can someone say that they're proud of me because I finished 20 skeletons for my AOS armor? Hey,
I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
we're proud of you. Hey, keep going though.
It's probably more models than I finished all of last year.
Call me when you get to 120 zombies.
Oh, here we go. Chris trying to one-up everybody.
No, I haven't finished, is what I'm saying. I wish I did. But then I stopped because I'm like, there's a lot of this. Ruckett says, I have a suggestion for the ad for these Secret Sauce paints.
Uh-oh.
Do slap chop, but it's Jason and Chris in a wrestling ring, and Jason does one of those chest slaps on Chris's hand, all coated in paint, and screams, woo! I may have watched way too much wrestling growing up. If we do anything with paint on hands, we're definitely doing the white hand of Saruman. So I appreciate the idea flow, but hands with paint equals Saruman in my eyes.
Like the idea of this, and we Zenithal prime Christopher.
Zenithal prime.
And then we
How do you
dump
do
a
that?
whole bucket of Secret Sauce on him and be like, there, we did it. And that's it. That's the commercial.
There you go.
Like, there.
No, we're gonna put you in a.
You asked.
We're gonna
you
put
delivered.
you.
Stop asking.
We're gonna put you in the pool. We're gonna put you in a pool coming out of it. Is it done? Yes.
Stop asking.
Are the Secret Sauces done? And then you come out of the pool.
Yes.
Speaking of pools,
Welcome, everybody.
Choker of Chickens says, Chris, what colors did you use for Thunderlords? I bought the Iron Halo Strike Force. No, I didn't do Thunder Lords. I did Thunder Warriors. I think there are Thunderlords, correct?
Put 2 names together, and there's a Space Marine
I
chapter.
was just about to say Lords of Thunder, Thunder Lords. No,
Thunder Chickens.
I did like a proxy army for Custodes for Horus Heresy. That's what we were just talking about. Jason, how's that dunk tank for Chris coming? Yeah, how's my dunk tank coming, Jason?
Why would I ever buy Chris a dunk tank?
That's what Mo's asking. Jason, how's that dunk tank for Chris coming?
Oh, that's right. We were supposed to do that at shows so that everybody could come and spend their
Pay
hard-earned
me real money?
their hard-earned
Great.
money on dunking you in a dunk tank.
I
forgot about
will
that.
take your cash.
That was the whole thing. You said you would you would do it.
I'll do it. If you want to give me your money, great. For dunking, put me in, coach. I'll dunk. Blue Session says, do you always start with black primer? And first time chat, welcome in.
Yep. Yeah, there's only a few times where we're teaching something specific that works better with white primer. You know, if a viewer asks us, or somebody in our community says, hey, I'd really like to know how to do blah, 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 then there's times where I might look at doing something different. But by and large, yes, I am a black primer guy at heart. The reason being that it just allows you to have 100% of your shadow baked onto the model from the get-go, and I don't have to worry about getting into the nooks and crannies to blend my shadows back onto the model like white primer does. I get sick and tired of spending time fighting the model to get shadows on it. When if you start with black primer, everything's a shadow, and you just build off of that.
Burrito says, can you release a black-brown rattle can primer? I don't like my airbrush.
Well, what the... you can use like the Colorforge Hyrax brown is good.
Hyrax brown is awesome. It's a little bit more saturated than our black brown, but it definitely is a cool...
Yeah, it's more brown.
It's a really... If you got terrain, I would prime all your stuff in that. It's great. And then do paint over it. Yes, Awkwardish, we're gonna... Well, I gotta talk with Jason about when we're gonna do the challenge review, but it'll be sometime in the new year. The first week or the next week after. We'll let you guys know.
Be sometime. You know.
Because obviously the day that we would do it obviously is a holiday, and then we don't have the day. We have the day off after that holiday. So it'll probably be like Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week, depending on schedule, but we'll let you guys know. Kruger's asking, what's the difference between speed paints and transparent ink paints?
Transparent ink paints?
I think, Kruger, you're just saying ink paints.
Like inks?
Yeah.
Well, so the big difference is that speed paints are meant to flow across the model like a wash, right? And provide a filter like a wash, but more intense coloring, which a wash you don't want to do, right? A wash is supposed to give you light filtering and then heavy buildup in the crevices, as we use the term here. Our hobby is a little unique in that we will say wash, and other people will think of a wash as being an overall glaze of a color on a canvas to antique it or something, right? Where they want more color. For us, a wash is meant to just do a subtle filter on a model. And then a speed paint is what I'm doing now, which is meant to take you, very simply, putting white and black on your model, which is quick, to get your values, your shadow and your highlight where it needs to be. And then this paint filters equally over all of that, also running into the crevices to build more color up in the low areas. So you get more intensity to help the shadows keep on track visually, right? Because otherwise you'd put normally yellow over a black and you're not going to get much if it's translucent enough to let the white do a lot. So these colors are built to where they can still have a good effect over the low value colors, and then really let the high value colors like white and your highlight colors punch through, so you get all that contrast on the model, hence the name contrast paints from GW, because they were meant to help you retain contrast. Or I think they thought, that they were going to deliver a lot of contrast on the model. Obviously, they don't deliver enough contrast to really let it run like that. That's why I say that putting a value sketch like black and white on your model first is always, no matter what the brand is, going to get you a much better solution out of these.
Archimedes says, I'm about to paint my Tomb World Killzone and want to try to brush on Doomfire Magenta. I hear dry brushing contrast paint is tricky. Any tips?
Dry brushing?
Dry brushing contrast paint.
I wouldn't. I don't know that tricky is the right answer. I think not a good idea because they're translucent. Dry brushing, while you can do it, all it's going to do is apply a filter. So I'm curious as to what your goal is and why you would choose to dry brush them.
Yeah. Interesting take, though.
They're meant to kind of be sloppy paint, right? You just kind of dump them on here. I'm being a little bit more specific with these models just because I don't want to have to repaint every area around them if I don't have to. But I could just be dumping this on here.
Yeah. So
if you're looking to use contrast paint for what it's built for, I think that it's better to be sloppy with it than, dry brushing is sloppy anyway. So I don't know. You'd have to explain to me what the dry brushing choice was done for. I'm in no way saying don't do that, but I would need to
okay.
understand why you would choose that.
Archimedes is saying, I just want a neon pink glowing effect.
With the contrast.
Yeah.
So do white dry brush first, and then you don't dry brush the contrast paint. You paint it on over your white dry brush. There's your answer.
And then would you
treat it like a fluorescent color, like I just talked about with the fluorescents. You would dry brush the white to give the glow effect that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then you need to is that hair? What is that on his back? I don't know what that is.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Oh, it's like a thing on his necklace. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
so use the dry brush with white. Dry brush the white where you want the glow to be, and then use your paintbrush and paint the contrast paint over that dry brushed area, just like you would normally, and you'll be fine. That way, if it blends out a little bit into the other areas, it looks like the diffused glow that you would want it to be anyway. Bingo, done. It'll look amazing.
Prime white and then dry brush white? Question mark? Says Archimedes.
I guess I don't. Now I'm back to not understanding. You say you want it to look like a glow, but the glow is going to go on the primer? I need a better understanding of what you're doing.
Workup. Like a black base workup is what, Jason, you're talking about? Or
well, I mean, if you're going for glow, you put the glow on at the end of the model.
Right.
Right? So you've painted the model, and then you put the glow over the top of your paint so that it looks like it's glowing. So I have a hard time. If you're starting with white primer, yes, you could dry brush the contrast paint over that, but then you have to paint the model. So then you lose the glow effect, right?
Right.
Or are you saying that there's a part of the model that is supposed to glow, and you've primed the model white, painted it all, and that part's still just primed white? At which point, if that's the case, yeah, then you can just dry brush the other color over the top. I still think it's better to just paint it on normally. I still don't understand the dry brush part.
Archimedes says, "Oh, sorry. I understand dry brushing in white. Do I need white primer?"
No. No, I would start with black, but the white dry brush is because you now have paint all over the model, and the white dry brush is going to give you that kind of glow effect again.
And what white would you use, Jason, for that?
Titanium white.
Bold titanium white. Archimedes, that's what I think you might be asking there too. Not using, for the dry brush, you would use the bold titanium white.
Yeah.
Gotcha, thank you. Hey, we got there. We landed that plane.
That's why we ask a lot of questions, because I think in terms of not just answering the question that's posed, but trying to figure out like what you're attempting to do. Because a lot of times we, just humans in general, will ask a question with the limited knowledge we have that could guide the answer to be the wrong answer entirely. And I hate that. I don't ever want anybody to leave the stream going, but you told me that if I did this, it would work great. And then me having to go, oh, but I didn't know you were trying to do it over that.
Archimedes says, I'm new, so I went the most indirect route. Hey,
oh, no. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's like
fine.
I said, I love this. It is a great way for us to communicate, but that's why it's frustrating for some people, because they're like, I just want the answer. Stop asking me questions.
We're going to engage with the question. Typically, when Jason answers your question, we're going to answer the question. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
But I might ask a lot of questions on the way there.
Joshua Lee, speaking of Jason hating things, welcome to the stream, everybody. Hey, Jason. Jason doesn't hate things.
Only a few things.
Only a couple. I have 3 things that I hate.
And you can't remember what they are.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jason.
I pay attention, unlike you.
I do know what I hate.
Unlike you.
But I won't remember what they are.
I listen to my friends.
Oh, you hear that, chat?
Chris doesn't listen to his friends.
We're friends.
And he doesn't invite them to do fun things.
That's not true. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What fun thing are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm never invited.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You can't just leave me hanging.
Like you did?
You didn't invite me to the fun thing.
I invite you to fun things all the time. The fact that you don't come does not make it me not inviting you.
Chris hates trees and hobbits. Panic bomb. False. Literally false. This is not true. How soon after Adepticon will we buy special sauce in the EU shop?
We're still working on that. If I can get enough produced beforehand, we'll try to ship some over there to where we can do it at Adepticon. Here's the way I would like for it. I make no promises, so I hate saying this because people are going to be like, "You told me." I'm not saying that this is going to happen.
What
but
are
in
you
a
about to
perfect
say?
in a perfect world, I would get a shipment made as we leave for Adepticon. I would get a shipment to the EU out,
So
and
that
we
they
would
can
do
have
the
it.
pre-sale while Adepticon is running. You would just have to wait on your shipping because they would not be there when they're for sale, which has worked already for us with regards to things like the Texture Trainer Flammables. We've already done it with some stuff, so I'm not above doing that. I just have to be able to produce enough, and because we do all this on our own, I just don't guarantee that before Adepticon we can make enough. So we'll see how that goes. We're gonna try our best, chat.
Hey, you know what, Jason?
Sometimes
Do your
the
best,
best
and
is
forget
all
the
you
rest.
get.
Isn't that right? Do your best and forget the rest.
Is that how that goes?
That's how that goes.
Okay.
Do your best and forget the rest. Chris is like Santa's other reindeer and won't let other play his reindeer games. What are you talking about,
That was a
Wirehead?
great reference. You just get a million sushi points.
No, he can't give. Avian gave us bits. Hey, bits. We love those bits. Thank you, Avian.
You get a million sushi points.
Jason can't hand out a million sushi points.
I can do what I want.
He can't print this money.
I can.
We don't have the resources. We don't have the gold to back it up. Yeah, he's not giving those out. I'm just gonna make that clear.
That was great. To
That
draw
was great.
a Chris dig into a Christmas.
I don't know
reference.
what Jason wants from me nowadays. I just come in here, I take these slings and arrows for him, and
For me, those were meant for you.
And now we're back.
I don't. Nobody's slinging things at me.
What are you doing with that tail? Is it going to be yellow too? I just noticed it.
Ugh.
I'm getting this back on track.
Haven't ever stopped being on track.
No, I've got to get you back in there sometimes.
What are you talking about?
That yellow, the tail. Is it going to be yellow?
No,
Okay, it's not.
I'm gonna paint it purple.
No, now he's just being sassy. Now he's just being a little sassy.
Now he's just being sassy.
He's just being.
Hi, I'm Jason, the
purple.
sassy painter.
Jason, the sassy painter. Welcome in, everybody. This is Jason, aka Sassy McSassertons. Okay, so he's not painting it yellow. He's not painting it purple. We got it. Good. Okay, just making sure. Hey, I never know, man. Now,
How much
this
you want to
is-
bet these guys aren't yellow at the end either?
Well, I was gonna say, this is a Chris question. With these new special sauce paints, is wet blending using that technique you showed earlier still viable way to wet blend? Or is it?
These are going to be a little bit too translucent. Could
Okay.
you? Yes. What you get is going to be reliant on that third color, which is your base coat showing through. So even something as simple as white can really upset your wet blend.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend it for the faint of heart, but it is a great thing to try, and the results might astound you. But it's going to be a for science kind of a thing that will be different every time you do it. Whereas doing it with a controlled situation like just opaque paints, you can have the confidence of knowing, like, hey, I did this last time, it'll work this time. You just choose the colors. With this, it could be very, very different based on the way the colors behave with the black and white transitions painted underneath them, and then the blend. You might get some colors that turn into just kind of desaturated vomit.
Jeff, the yellow looks like the bad guy from Sin City.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of cool. Hey, Jason. Oh, we were just talking about this, Red Green. You might have missed it. How do you feel about well palettes? I've been enjoying using the popping toy with the sponge resting on the top. Paints stay wet and undiluted for days.
Yeah. They can, if you fill them, then you have enough paint for them staying wet. Remember that acrylic paints are never as good the next day. So don't expect your acrylic paints to do that, because you will have resin curing the whole time they're in air. So if you put them in the fridge and you get up the next morning and they're still there working, they're not as good as they were, guaranteed. Why I never talk about doing that. So not to rain on parades or anything, but if the goal is to have your paints workable for a long time, consider the longest time your paint should be workable is your session of painting.
Well, and maybe use less paint at a time. Why do you have to use that much paint? That's what I always ask.
Oh yeah, I mean I say put
Jason
less
does,
paint out
like,
more
drips.
often.
Yeah. You put less paint out more often, drip style, right? Rather than having a big old puddle.
Yeah, because again, I want to make sure that my paint is always usable the way I expect it to be straight out of the bottle. But in order to do that, if I put out too much paint, it skins over and starts curing and things like that.
And Choker of Chicken, great follow-up. Why do you prefer the glass palette versus the wet palette, Jason?
I just don't like the maintenance of a wet palette. It provides nothing to me except hassle. If you are using it, you're constantly diluting your paint because most people over wet their wet palette. I can't say everybody does, but most people, when I look at their wet palette, it's too wet. It has too much water like on top of the paper. So now your paint is never going to give you the full effect of the paint. You're always going to get it diluted to some extent. When I paint, I want to make sure that every time I touch the model with paint, I get to choose the dilution of the paint. I get to choose how vibrant it is. I get to choose how thin it is, all of that. And in order to be able to be in that kind of control, I have to guarantee that the paint, when I go put it on the brush, is exactly the way it came out of the bottle every time. So that's why I use a dry palette, because my paint is the same every time. And a wet palette, it's not. And the longer it's on the wet palette, the more unlike the paint it really is. Now, if you are doing a lot of glazes, you're doing a lot of painting with very thin opacity paints, then a wet palette can be fantastic, obviously, because it will help you get to that level of thinness quicker. So for a lot of people, it gives them that confidence to glaze. But once you start layering and wanting vibrancy back, you can find it really tough. You know, some people are like, hey, my colors look really flat. What am I doing wrong? And I'm like, one of the first questions I ask is, are you over thinning your paints? How many layers are you applying your colors in? And if they say not very many, if they say, you know, maybe like 2 or 3, then, and they're still not getting very saturated colors, then I ask if they're using a wet palette. Because a wet palette makes the paint you're painting with, in some cases, act as if you've been applying it in 15 layers because it's overly thin. So you just got to be careful. For the people that know how to use them and have a confidence and are willing to work with them, they can be a tremendous tool. So I in no way am trying to dissuade you from using one. But I'm not a fan.
Green, red, green, blue. What are your thoughts on the flat silicone sheets as palettes? I find it super easy to peel off. Interesting.
Yeah, silicone. There is I call it silicone glove.
Silicone glove.
That used to be called silicone glove. We used it in welding and stuff. You would dip your hands in the can, and it would give you a clear glove of silicone, so you still had very good tactile response with your fingers.
Nice.
Because I can't wear gloves when doing fine detail work. So when like working with metal, I need to feel the edge of the metal and stuff.
Right.
So you put the silicone glove on, and it kept your hands from getting the grease and stuff all over them. But yeah, you can put that over a palette and then pick on the edge and peel it off.
Sources
They make it in sprays and dips and paint on and all sorts of stuff. We've actually thought about that around here as something we could make, but it would really require us to make a palette. We just haven't gotten into that yet.
Source is asking if you're going long today, Jason.
Probably not.
Source.
I've got a bunch of stuff that showed up here for the home studio. My compressor.
Oh, you got an
airbrush compressor
nice,
and all
cool.
that stuff. So I want to go home and get all that hooked up.
Nice.
Because that puts me one step closer to being able to stream from the house. But my goal moving forward with the house setup is that on days like, you know, where I would rather go long or keep streaming, that I would just kind of, you know, take a quick break, do my finish up stuff at the office, go home, and then stream again.
Yeah.
Right? I know that's a break in between, but I feel like that's kind of the fun part. We had some really good turnout for like the Discord get-togethers, but it's a pain to manage because that system they have is garbage.
Unfortunately, it is, huh?
Yeah, they just don't make it for what we use it for. It's kind of almost there.
Yeah.
It was just really hard to manage. I don't get to. I feel like I'm not paying attention because people are trying to talk and they have to click the raise your hand thing, and I'm not. I don't see it. And
People can't just come in and come out without having it to be like somebody to be like, hey, this person has a question, or hey.
yeah, everybody has to moderate it, and it just felt clunky. So I think doing the regular stream is the better way to do that. But yeah, I don't think so tonight, just because I have all that other stuff I need to do. Yeah, I bought a Masters air compressor.
Stan was just asking what airbrush you got.
I just bought a cheap. I'll take the ones from here, because we've got all the Grec stuff, and I just bought a cheap Masters. I was like, I'm gonna test one of these out. It's been a while since I've owned a hobby compressor.
Oh, the little guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I bought
nice.
the Masters set for, I don't know, it's like $150 that has the 2-liter tank on it or something like that. And I will be able to report back and let you know if it passes muster for me.
Rattlecan says Jason has a home studio now. Chat. When this kicks off, we are step chat. Oh my gosh. No, Rattlecan, you're always family.
Why would
I Rattlecan, I see what I think your joke is hilarious, but we love you whether you're at home.
Because you have to go to Dad's house?
You have to go to Dad's house.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so.
Okay.
Step chat. Wow. Silly. Funny. Silly.
On the weekends, we go to Dad's.
Source says, I tried one of those kitchen tiles as a palette, but my paint dried so fast. Is glass any different than a tile made for wet room walls?
Ceramic is just glass, so by any other name, right? Kiln-fired mud that turns to kind of a glass. Now, it's not going to be any much different. If you're having problems with your paint drying out, then chances are you're going to have the same problem. I think that a lot of that is expectation of too much paint on the palette and trying to use it for too long. Put out less paint more often.
Less paint more often.
Because, I mean, we couldn't be in a drier climate, I don't think.
I would argue to say we're probably the second to most dry or third.
Yeah, high desert or the high areas of New Mexico, maybe.
Death Valley.
Death Valley.
If you're painting in Death Valley, God bless you.
Yeah, maybe Death Valley.
Good luck out there. I'm being serious. I don't know how you keep your paint any wet out there.
But it's super dry here. Our average humidity is like 7%, if that.
It actually has been raining lately here.
We've had higher humidity these last few weeks, and we did have a pretty good bout of rain.
Yeah.
That storm that hit California caused all this latest rash. But
when it's humid for us, it's like at 18% or 20%.
Yeah, and we all start dying. So if there was ever a place where paint was not going to last on a dry palette, it would be here, and I have no problems. My paint will dry out if I put too much out and have too much of an expectation of it staying wet, right?
Yeah.
So I have to just be careful with that. And like I'm telling you, I practice what I preach on that. I put out less paint and I put it out more often. Do you waste some? You're going to waste paint no matter what. So stop thinking about that, right? Painting with a paintbrush is a waste because if you get the wrong amount of paint on your brush, you're going to stick it in a cup of water and wash it down the drain. So it isn't about wasting the paint. It's about just making sure you get the most use out of the paint that you put out on the palette. And put out less. Put a new droplet out every now and then.
I guess it is technically it's another holiday week.
It is.
It feels
New
so
Year's.
weird, man.
This one's for everybody. I guess except for the Chinese.
Yeah.
Do any other countries celebrate a different New Year?
I think so.
For the bulk of the planet, it's a holiday week.
Maybe I put too little. It was dry in less than 5 minutes, says source. Interesting.
Did you spread it around? I always tell people that too, and sometimes we forget to talk about it.
Oh, spreading.
There is a really bad habit projected out through YouTube and creators. And that habit is spreading your paint way too thin on the palette. A lot of people out there just start, I mean, they really do. They just spread the paint out into big flat spots on the palette because they'll be frantically mixing, right? So they'll do like what you see here with my metallic on the palette, where we were doing the metallics and I was glazing with them, right? So I was pulling the paints down, very wet. That area will dry out way quicker than the droplet of paint that's up here. Because this area down here, I can glaze it yellow, right?
Yeah.
The area down there is now way too thin, touching too much air. There's too much surface area touching the air. So evaporation is happening over this entire area, which is creating more heat, which is filming this paint over way quicker. So keep it in a puddle up here. That puddle will take a long time to dry. It may skin over, and you just pop the skin and you got good paint underneath. But you keep your thing here, and then you pull the tail out and work from that. And that's what you'll see all this area is. You'll see, you can't always see the droplet, but you'll see all this area where I've pulled paint away from a thing. That's because the droplet was good for a lot longer than this tail. This will keep drying up, and I keep pulling more paint down here, but I always have the paint to work from. If you take the droplet and spread it around to mix it or whatever, you've just defeated the whole purpose. You've dried out all of that paint. So keep the droplet stable, and you should be good.
Gilborn says, do you guys ever host live in-person classes, lectures?
Rarely. And I would say no, except last year and this year we're doing Adepticon stuff.
That's right.
With AMG.
Jason is teaching a class on underpainting skin this year at Adepticon.
Somebody had asked, popping close on this?
Yeah.
Somebody had asked what it looks like just over white.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like we get a good shadow even out of a bright color like yellow, right? It gives a good shade to the underside of those stones and the in-between lines and stuff like that. And then also what you'll notice is that you don't get any of that piling up of paint on the big flat areas.
Yeah.
So, so I just slop this on, but you don't get any big stains of yellow. You could literally just highlight that and it would look great. So,
Rocco, is there a way to mix paint on the glass palette without it drying out super fast?
Nope. No. That's why I'll have two colors next to one another, like here. Pull up the palette again. I'll have two colors next to each other here. I don't think I have... Oh, yeah, I do. I have over here where we have white, blue, and blue, black, right? And so I would just mix them down here. So I keep the droplet of white, blue, the droplet of blue, black. I pull a little bit here, and mix it down here. Now I have the color I like. Then I'll go paint with it, come back over here. It might work twice, but usually just once. And then I pull a little bit more, and make it, and I match it to the color that's already on the palette, and you're done. And then you just keep going back. So it just becomes mechanical for me to do that. If I'm going to use enough paint where that's a hassle, I just mix it in a bottle, right? Pour it and mix it in a bottle, and now you have it as your own color paint. If you're going to use it across a whole army, I always say take a third of 2 bottles, mix them in, and you're going to have, 2/3 of a bottle now that is that color that you need for long. So like that's what we did with like the eclectic salmon for my blood angels, right? We just took it and mixed it. So now I have paint that works all the time.
Choker Chicken, does the beginner painters advance their skills faster using a dry palette, following up on Jason's advice earlier?
That's a great question. I don't believe in... How do I phrase this? I'm going to say no, but I'm going to say no not in that it's a binary answer. I'm going to say that what makes a painter skill up faster is finding what's comfortable for you to use. Now, in a perfect world, you would have all the tools laid out, and you would use them all and find out, oh, that one seems to work the best for me. That's expensive. I know that's not possible. So given the range of things that you want to spend on, there is nothing about a dry palette that will keep you from becoming a better painter. Nothing. There's nothing about there's something about a wet palette that as a beginner might keep you from becoming a better painter right out of the gates because it overthins your paint, or can overthin your paint, and you could be stuck wondering what you're doing wrong. A dry palette won't do that. A dry palette is just the hassle of your paint not lasting as long. But the paint, when you go to get it, is always going to do what you need it to do. So you can focus on learning to use the paint. And the only hassle is that sometimes you have to put out more paint on the palette, right? So from that, now that I've said that, I could say, yeah, that maybe I would start with a dry palette and work from there. And then if you get frustrated with your mixes and stuff drying out too fast, then add a wet palette in for that. There's no harm in having like a small wet palette to the side that you put your mixes on, and that keeps them workable as you do the model. And then you clean that off, but you put your regular paints on a dry palette so that you can always go back to the original paint the way it's meant to be.
You're still waiting. You'll wait, Lumberjack and Mo. You'll wait. You'll wait.
Bastages. All of you. Is it time? You're putting links up already. You got 3 minutes. Actually, we have like 15 minutes.
Why is that?
Well, need I remind you?
Oh, that I had to deal with.
We were late.
That's true. That's true.
We were late. Brent's like, paid professional, folks.
I'm not cutting you short. To my technology decided to screw me today. I'm not going to take... I can't... There's only so much I can do with that, chat. It's very frustrating. But hey, we made it work.
I can't yet put another color over these. They're still in the need to dry phase.
What Chris made you late? No, I didn't make him late. Not personally. Keep me accountable, chat, because I already don't think about this all the time. You know?
I was in here an hour and a half.
I tried to get my facey face camera for you, and now you can't see it, chat.
Yeah, because we stole the camera. I stole the camera. I took Chris's face cam before the holiday to be my cam at home.
How you liking it? You said you were messing around with settings. Uh-oh.
It's a Sony.
We could dial
it that way. It's a Sony.
You know, it's a... Okay, I'm so sorry. I had no idea what that was for a second. I'm like, what the heck is that, dude? I had no idea. Oh, man. You're just slopping it on. Did you glue that guy in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, dang, that's bold. I like it.
Yeah. This is why the tube is so great, because
I totally did not expect you to base. Jason, please talk about this basing process for us.
I'm just taking some fine basing material, very fine basing material, squeezing it directly out of the tube. Try that, tub. Try that, tub. And then very quickly spreading it around on this base, because I'm sick of looking at it with the overspray on it.
Can you tell me a little bit about your basing process? Because I've had 1,000 questions about Jason doing bases.
I mean, no, I don't want to treat this like a video thing, because we'll do one specifically about these at some point, but this one's not it.
Not this one?
I mean,
this is a perfect model.
The idea for these guys is that I'm just going to put down a layer that gets rid of that dividing line.
Okay, got
it. In the base.
Okay.
And then I'm not really going to push forward, because I need to. These guys have enough open area on this big square base that I need to do something other than just basing material.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I'm going to go get some.
You're going to do something to this base.
Yeah, I'm going to go get some of the wood mulch.
Oh, okay.
From Home Depot.
Yeah.
And that way I can use the bark mulch, is what it's called.
Okay.
That I can use the bark mulch as rocks on the base.
Okay.
Because bark mulch looks amazingly like big slate stone.
Chat, we will get you a basing video. I promise you.
Well, one of these I think would be good to do it with. I'm just here in the limited time we have left today. I want to get some basing material on this guy, because I want to finish him, and I'm sick of looking at the overspray on everything.
Yeah.
So when pushing this stuff around, as you see, just squeeze it out of the tube, get it on the base, and then I try to get all the big areas covered, but I won't use this big pylon brush to get it worked right up to the feet.
Can you
Otherwise,
mind?
I'll risk getting gunk all over the model.
Yeah. Can you remind us what the yellow guys were that you had? What faction is that from?
Same Uroni faction.
Uroni, okay.
All of these are Uroni. Basically the Japanese Oni and yokai and demons.
Joshua said, I hate that you switched to the tubes because I finally found some good rack storage for the tubs. And you pulled the fast one on me. Joshua, the tubes are literally 1,000% better.
Yeah, easily 1,000%.
I would be in your same boat if I had storage units, but trust me, I use cat litter. You know, cat litter would be actually a good, like for little rocks and such. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, the tubes will change your life. I need to get some.
And just get a smaller brush and poke the material up towards the foot.
Can you bring it up a little bit? There it is.
Not really.
No.
Can you zoom in? I got it. When I do this, I kind of got to keep it on
That's okay.
the desktop.
Hey, Jason, you can do whatever you want.
I know I can, but I like to help. A lot of people ask why don't you do this first and then put the model on? You can if you're going to press the model into wet basing terrain and then just prime it all together. That's a really good way to do it. But you have to press the model in because you need the model to feel like it has weight and that it's sinking into the ground, especially a big Oni like this. You don't want to have it be something that feels like it's floating. So many people, oh my God. There's a lot of this online competition that just recently happened. And there's so many pictures flooding the internet with it, which are great to look at. And then I see ones that are like, yeah, I got, silver and masters and I can see light under the feet that are supposed to obviously be firmly planted on the ground. And I don't know why it irks me so bad. Because I come from a world of scale model diorama building.
Yeah.
Where people would have literally kicked you out of the event if your soldiers' feet were like, barely tacked to the dirt. Especially if you did something that was supposed to be like mud, and there's no weight to it. Like when you do tanks, one of the big things that would happen in dioramas is people would do like a Sherman, let's say, and then they do the terrain for the diorama, and then they would just glue the Sherman to the top of the terrain. And so the tracks didn't press into the terrain at all. You're talking about a tank that weighed tens of tons, and it would have sunken into dirt. And it kind of is floating there. So I do this because now as I press the basing texture up against the foot, it gives weight to the model because I will cover just a fraction of the side of the foot everywhere. And so now that feels like he's sinking into the ground just a bit. This isn't intended to be mud, so he shouldn't be up to his ankles in it, but just enough to give it some weight. So he's going to leave a footprint. Now, then that begs the question, would you do footprints behind him? Not unless I'm really, swinging for the fences. I'm not telling the story about where the model came from. I'm only worried about this one slice of time that we're looking at right now. And there we go.
Looks like it, Source. After cleaning your brush, how much water do you keep in your brush before touching paint? Also, how moist you keep for base coating or layering? What is your process?
A great question. Moisture control on my brush is the bulk of how I paint. Because I don't do any active thinning on the palette very often. There are times where I mix a wash up or a transparent to a real low opacity over here on the palette and use that over and over again if that's the only way I want the color to be. But typically I'm not thinning the paint actively, and I say actively in terms of what adding medium or water to it would mean. And so for me, when I'm just doing my standard layering, I think the best way to tell you is that I do one of, how would we say it? Probably 3, but it's an infinite amount of ways that I dampen my brush. I go over to my paint water, my cup, right? So I've got some paint on this. I'll go over here. I'll get my water cup and my crappy paper towel that's over here now, right? And I'll rinse my brush off real quick. And then I pull it out of the cup straight away. So it has however much water it'll hold. I don't squeegee on the side of my cup ever. I don't clean it. I never do. I don't ever get my brush wet and then come over here and do this, right? Never do that. I just rinse it and then take it out. So now it has however much water, which is different for every brush. This is a size 4, so it's not going to hold as much water and thin as much paint as a size 6, but it'll thin way more than a size 1. And then I come over to my paper towel, and if I'm glazing, I probably hit it once. And then I go over into my paint and I start pulling my paint down out of my droplet, and I have a lot of moisture on that brush, right? So all that water thins my paint out. If I'm layering, right, same thing. I rinse my brush, bring it over, and I probably go 1, 2, 3. That's what I find myself in my head doing most of the time is 1, 2, 3. Now I've got enough moisture in the brush that it will hold, it'll pull paint into it, and it'll let paint go in a very consistent manner still. If there's too much water in your brush, then when you touch it to the surface, it lets too much paint out because it makes it way low viscosity like water, and water just wants to run away from the brush. So the more water on your brush, the less controllable the paint when you touch the model is. So like this, it doesn't have enough water. See how my hand's still wet over here where we did the last one. Now if I do this, you won't get any shine on my finger at all, right? But the brush is still damp enough, like your hair after you dry it with a towel. Not dripping, right? Doesn't have water that will, turn anything super wet, but it has enough to draw paint and release it and keep the paint flowing nicely. So that's the way I do 90% of my painting is all the water it'll hold, 1, 2, 3 on the paper towel. Now, obviously, there's a lot of variation here. How big of a brush are you using? What kind of paper towel are you using, right? All of that will change it for you, but something like that is how I control it. It's either all of the water on the brush. If I'm glazing and really want it super thin, I might take a whole brush load of water and add it to my paint on the palette. Wipe it once to glaze. Wipe it 3 times if I'm layering. If I'm dry brushing or if I'm doing something where I'm just doing an edge highlight and I want the paint to be super vibrant, no thinning at all, then I might sit here and wipe it 6 or 7 times to where the brush is damn near dry, then go into the paint and then do that one little highlight or that stipple, that one little dot on the eye. I don't want a lot of liquid on my brush for that because I don't want the paint to spread when it hits the model. So I'll dry it as much as I can. So somewhere between all the water and none of the water is where all my painting lies, but it's always done off the brush, right? 99% of the time. Like I said, when I actively thin on the palette, it's for something specific, and I typically don't do that.
Whittle Goblin and Studio J7, thank you so much for those raids.
What?
Welcome in, Raiders.
What?
That's a lot of Raiders.
Maybe I am painting.
Looks like he's going long.
Maybe I am sticking around. I'll stick around and do the green on these guys.
You're going to make them green now.
Yeah, my intention was to make them green.
Oh.
We underpainted these guys with the
Welcome in, Raiders.
Secret Sauce yellow, and then went over it with the crimson. So we got this really well. That shows it with the highlights, but that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Is the yellow with the crimson over it. And so that yellow, what we're doing is, for those of you that just joined us, welcome everybody. Hello, we're Monument Hobbies. We are coming out with our answer to the speed paint contrast phenomenon. And people have been demanding it from us for years and years. And we've kind of always said, well, it's not a way that we paint. So it's not something we really, want to come out with until we could find a way that we would use it in our own process, model after model after model. And while I love the concept of a paint that is very easy for beginners to put primer on, paint with it, and have fun and make it look better so you don't have to know how to layer and blend and all that stuff. I love that part, but I also want a paint that if you buy it from me, it's useful as you progress through your painting journey. You can always open that bottle and use that paint. And those speed paints and contrast paints stop being useful in the medium of your life, and then when you get very confident with things like glazing, then they become very powerful tools again. And so we wanted something that worked with you more than that. So that's what we're doing. We're painting this entire Conquest Yoroni army with them, all these Japanese Oni and demons and such. And right now we're doing everything in them. We're airbrushing with them to test the capacity of them to airbrush. So we started doing this big Jeromago spider with airbrushing. The internal name is Secret Sauce, I guess. That's chat's fault.
It is chat's fault.
And but we're using it on all these models and testing and showing off on stream how they work and how you can use them for different things and how they blend and having a lot of fun with them. So yeah. So I did the yellow underneath the red, and I'm going to do the yellow underneath this green as well. As soon as I get rid of this gnat that's stuck on my model, bastard.
You got a gnat?
He was like stuck on the model.
He really liked your paint job.
He did.
Welcome in, Raiders.
Welcome, everybody.
We're Monument Hobbies. The face that you don't see. I'm Christopher. This is Jason. We're Monument
like,
Hobbies.
do phenomenon.
We're so glad you all rated. Thank
Studio,
you
what's
so
going
much.
on?
Studio J7 and Witty.
How you doing, Witty?
Thank you, guys.
What's going on, everybody?
We really appreciate it. Thank you. Round of applause. All right, Jason, what are you going to do with these guys? You said you're going to make them green. How do you make them green?
You paint green over the top of them, Chris.
Now, what kind of green?
The special sauce green. And I think I want to do...
You can special
This
sauce
is the good
this
question.
green.
Do I want to use the smokier green that I did the Legion pants in? Or do I want to use the yellow green? I already have yellow on it, so I think the smoky green might be cool.
Jason, there's no smoking inside.
Hey, I do what I want. So, the nice thing is that somebody in chat had asked what the special sauce looks like just over white primer without any zenithal, and that's it. That's the yellow, the brightest color in the lineup, and you can see it gives you good detailing between elements, so you get darker contrast in there, but you don't get the buildup of paint like other lines of speed paints do. It doesn't give you the big splotches of color where they shouldn't be. You can see across the floor, and we just slopped it on here. Nothing special. So it works great for that. So I'm going to use what is sadly labeled smoky green. That's not the name.
It is now. Smoking inside.
It's like a gray green, but it's a vivid green, so it's still not quite that.
Somebody's asking, I want to do a bright, vibrant orange sci-fi armor. What is a good base to start with, and what is good workup?
A bright, vibrant orange sci-fi armor.
What do you start with your orange?
I really like mahogany as a start for orange. Mahogany up through burnt orange, and then whatever orange I'm going to use. Just either orange or Nova orange is a little bit more faded and desaturated.
Mahogany.
The red orange is a little deeper, so you could do mahogany, burnt orange, red orange, and then a Nova orange. Because Nova orange that desaturated almost like a sherbet color as a highlight. You could do that.
Mahogany.
Or you could go to yellows for your highlight, depending on what you want to do. All right, I'm going to try the green over this. Mahogany. Mahogany.
Welcome in, everybody. We are so glad you are all joining us for the overtime that we're doing here.
I'm just going to paint up here just
Oh,
as a
this
test.
is the test? Smoky green.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be too much yellow-green, so I think this green with the yellow underneath it gives me what I'm looking for.
Interesting.
You can layer them up and obviously get the cool blending going on.
I would like to see how this dries. That's cool.
Again, just kind of slop it on.
Killjoy says, don't you paint blue over yellow to get green?
I mean, you can. Greenish. That's not what I'm looking for. I want the green. I just want this green that is going to become more yellow. So you do it over yellow. And then you get a warmer version of the same green, but not all greens are cut from the same cloth, right? So a faded green over yellow is going to give you a totally different outcome than, well, that's a lot of paint right there. There we go. Spread that out a little bit. I'll take the other green and put it on here and blend them so you can see. Then we can make a better determination on what is the right choice.
Oh, he'll take the other green, all right. Oh, passable for Nurgle, says T. Schmidt. The Nurgle models are coming out, I think, this next week.
I've already seen people with them.
Well, from their dark water, right?
Yeah.
And now the whole rest of the new stuff is coming out.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I think they're releasing the other dark water stuff alongside it, which is cool. I already spent my Christmas budget this year. I bought myself a knight.
Oh, did you?
I did. I
Which
got
one did you get?
a Lancer to start.
Okay, nice.
And I, in honor of Monty Python, I was watching Monty Python this holiday. For inspiration, chat.
So this green is actually a little bit more of a yellowish green already. These are test colors that we're doing. Playing with pigments and seeing what works best in our formulation. And so this one, it blends really nice with the other one though.
Stan says, I've never used my transparent black, but on my Argon wings, I'm thinking of copying my skin recipe and using transparent black over it. How much would you recommend thinning to get some of the reds and purple bleeding through? I hope you get what I mean.
Thin the heck out of it.
I would start so light. That's my
All
problem
of the
with them.
transparent paints are very vibrant colors. They will show detail through them, but if you want color, then thin the crap out of them and layer them back up.
Panic, thank you so much for that, Ray. Welcome in, everybody.
Never be afraid with the transparents to thin way beyond what you think you need to, and then play to work them back up, right? Now I'm torn. I don't know. The darker green or the I think this one.
Did I finish the Titan? No, not yet. Double T. I finished my entire Blood Bowl this holiday. That was my goal. I finished
I like that one.
I'm gonna do the Titan, but I'm more excited to do the Knights because the Knights of the Round Table would be so fun. Panic, hey, it's a small raid, but hey, we don't care. We just appreciate that raid. We love it.
Transparent
Thank you.
blue is so good as a filter over your ultramarines. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. The transparents, the way that I tend to use them the most is that I will go back and use them as a saturation filter over the same color. So if I paint reds, it lets me desaturate my reds with my highlights and everything and get my values set up right, and then put transparent red over the top of it, and it brings the punch of red back. Same with blues. All of our Space Marines that we did back when they first released whatever it was, the Indominus set or whatever, I don't forget what it was. All of these were done that way. They were done by building up blues and then over highlighting the blue and then using the transparent blue back over the top to create the final coloring. Did it with all of them. Yellows, greens, you name it. That's the way that the Imperial Fist was done. Keep popping closer.
Yep.
That's the way all of these were done. Was building up the values with oranges and yellows and all that, but not worrying necessarily about the final color, letting the transparent be the final color, worrying about the other colors being like the orange for the shadows, the pale yellow for the highlights and stuff like that. So it's a great way to paint. It's unique because using filters to achieve the real version of your final color is fun. But for some people it's very scary, because you're having to go over perfectly good paint with other paint. And sometimes that's not exactly what people want to do. I want to thin this down just a bit. I'm going to put a little bit in here.
I always have two projects going. Right now it's Knights and Earthworm Jim. I just acquired the final files for Earthworm Jim's head.
Oh, fair enough.
So I always have my side projects, but Earthworm Jim's going to take me longer. Lumberjack, I am going to do a whole process with Earthworm Jim. Don't you worry. I'm going to record the whole thing.
Always mix your paint with the butt end of the brush. Don't mix it with the bristles. Unless you have a mixing brush that you don't use for anything else. Please, for the love of God, save the brushes.
I do see a lot of people doing that.
I don't know if that's enough.
It's changed my life. We the people. That's right, Lumberjack. We the people. Yes, sir. Earthworm Jim is my side project. You don't believe me, Sugar Rush? You don't have to believe me. I know my truth. I will paint him. Now, Psychro, on the other hand, that's going to take me a long time. Because the Earthworm Jim models is 2 pieces.
2 pieces?
I'm sorry, 2 pieces to the whole diorama project. I have Earthworm Jim, and then I have Psychro. And I keep going back and forth of which body I'm going to do Earthworm Jim on. That's why I have not finalized it.
What are your choices?
Originally, I was going to put him in a dreadnought. That seems like too much. Then I was looking through some sick No, my alternative was I'm going to put him on Atom, which is a miniature that AMG gives away at their paint and takes. Because the gun from that looks almost identical to the
ray gun?
Earthworm Jim gun. Yes. So I was going to use that. But then I started looking at Space Marines, and there's some really cool Space Marines out there that I could just put him on and then pick thinner legs for his bottom. So I'm really stuck on the body. Plus, I was stuck on the head, but now that I found the head, I know who's Earthworm Jim? Joshua Lee, I'm so glad you asked. Earthworm Jim is a old 90s video game and cartoon character. Very Looney Tunes, Animaniacs X. And there was such a bummer. They were going to reignite Earthworm Jim like 2 years ago. There's some footage that they released, like an adult Earthworm Jim show. And I'm so upset that it didn't go through. But yes, it is the official Earthworm Jim 3D head is what I'm putting him on. I just got to figure out the body, chat. But he will be my side project, I've decided, because I need a side project. The Knights are my main project now, and Earthworm Jim is the side. That's my TED Talk.
Good old Chris. He's into that 30K.
I'm liking the Knights. It's a cool model. Those Knights are really cool. I really like them.
The red. Oh, show.
Plus, I'm making custom stencils for all the Knights from my friend. He's making me the stencils for them. I don't think I will attempt the freehand. I do not believe. We'll see. You'll see how my patience goes.
Again, I'm just kind of smacking this on here. A lot of what you see me doing is testing the paint itself. And so I'm just kind of seeing how it's building up on areas. And I thin this about, I will say 2-to-1 paint to water. Just to keep it flowing and to keep its intensity down a bit so that I can get not only the intensity of the yellow underneath it, but also make sure that I'm keeping some of that value sketch of black and white lively. You know, even if you just keep layering speed paints, eventually they cover up the original thing you were trying to use to empower them, which is that black and or white pre-highlight.
Seth is saying how long these paints take to dry in comparison to contrast ones. What's the open time?
I would say we're probably open a hair longer.
Oh, we're open, all right.
But it depends. There's no consistency in those paints, so that's like a hard question to answer, right? Ours will be more consistent. You will get time to work with them, but they will set up quick enough that you'll be able to, go back to painting. You don't have to do your whole army and then walk away for the night, come back the next day. As you've seen, we did these yellow. We primed these today during stream. So only 2 hours ago, these were gray models, gray plastic.
We are really good at doing that as an example, because we get that question like, how long should I wait after I prime?
24 hours.
30 seconds.
Unless you're us, and then we paint it in 15 minutes.
30 seconds.
Yeah. We have to go quick on the stream. In a perfect world, it'd be nice to give models more time. But we're not scurred. Good God, that looks good.
That was his opportunity to say if I had a producer that primed these for me.
Well, I feel like you've already kind of caught enough grief today, Chris, so I'm taking it easy on you.
Sugar Rush says, Chris, when are you going to learn non-metallic metal so the rest of the chat can learn it also? First, 2 answers to that. TBD is the first one. And Sugar Rush, Jason does so much non-metallic metal. You all should be experts at non-metallic metal by now.
But like you said, they're waiting for you to sit here and go through the process so they can go through the process with you.
I take it all back. TBD.
He's
Jason's,
the one that threw this out here, and now he's backing away from it.
Jason,
I knew this was going to happen.
has also been enjoying his hobby time on stream. Isn't that right, Jason?
That's why I'm doing a home stream.
So that I can paint more on stream?
We can get you your non-metallic metal, and I can do Conquest at home.
Conquest.
We have a
Capture
stream at
all the
home.
territories. Chris, where are you? Where are you? We can't see you. I had technical issues today. That would be incredible. Yes, we'll plan it out. I told you guys in the new year, Jason, I would plan that out. So in the new year, we'll talk about it. Probably, I would say late November is when we'll do it. So, in the new year. No. We'll get it. We'll
Chat,
figure it out for
I
you.
have to apologize.
Don't apologize.
I
Don't
feel
apologize
like-
for me.
I
I'm
feel
a grown
like-
man.
I feel like this should be the Lie Free channel.
The what?
The Lie Free channel.
Oh,
And instead, it's filled with liars.
this is not live free.
I mean, I guess it was written on the wall. When you get to a certain subscription level, you get the liar tag.
This episode is brought to you by The Truth.
Lying.
If you want the truth, it's not here.
What?
No.
We only tell the truth.
You
can't
handle the truth.
And nothing but the truth. Like, the truth is holy.
Chris lies free for every day. Hey.
So I know if I were painting an orc army, exactly what I would do for my orcs. Because that is turning out amazing.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll plan it out. How about that? I don't. It's not that I don't want to, chat. We'll figure it out.
Chris, if you need to go, you can go.
Uh-oh. Was that?
That's not a you need to go, by
Was
the way.
that your subtle way of getting rid of me?
No, I just never know if you're sitting here feeling captured
trapped
because
in my
I
own
decided I wanted
place. No, I'm a man of the world.
to lie. Lies.
I do have to pee though.
Thanks for sharing.
I'll pee. I'll be
You should go take care of that. We have a facility for that. Whoa, he's peeing in the corner, chat. Paid professional. I am super stoked for how easily these layer up. Because again, like I said, for those of you that might have not been along for the ride as we've been testing these live on stream, I mentioned when the raids came in. By the way, welcome again, everybody. That, my goal for introducing a Procreal version of, speed paint, whatever you want to call them, is something that works all along your journey. And for me, the only way they become super powerful, because I don't paint in a standard, slap chop or any of that kind of stuff, is that they have to be able to layer. I have to be able to use them to, generate really cool colored base coats off of, pre-highlighted and purple and taupe, and then be able to put these over the top and have them really do well with the coloring. And not just oversaturate the color they are, but mix like a real paint would mix, so that you can take some, what would you call them, educated risks with your art to get where you want to be. And these are pleasing me to no end. So far, we've been using a lot of the yellow underneath colors. But any combo is super comfortable to use. Why yellow? Because on the I did the yellow first on the Oni, right? Because we are doing a crimson in the initial set. And crimson as a red is more desaturated and dark. It gets a good red tint over white, but I wanted it to be warmer. So the yellow underneath the crimson gave me this, as opposed to, I know I did some crimson on something to show what it looked like on its own. The crimson on its own is that color. Can you pop in close?
Yeah.
Right, so this is the crimson paint on its own, just over the white and zenithal, right? So it looks fantastic. It's a great desaturated red for the kind of stuff that we paint. But I wanted something a little bit warmer, so putting the yellow underneath it does exactly that. Right? I get a little bit more oranging of the red, which is perfect. And then it allowed me to, highlight it up, and this is where the Onis finish after using Nova Orange as a highlight on the musculature and stuff like that. So it made it to where it was literally the yellow special sauce, red special, the crimson special sauce, and then highlight it, and the skin was done.
It's under the sauce.
So, if you don't count the primer, which you kind of have to, right? I mean, priming is a step. But if you don't count the primer in that step, because you got to do it anyway.
We don't count the primer.
Then Jason. It was 2 steps, three steps, I guess, right? Because I did 2 colors of the special sauce.
We don't count the priming as a step. We don't do that.
Well, that's
here.
only because somebody around here.
Somebody around here, what, Jason?
Oh, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there. I forget. Chad already beat you up today, so.
Whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Hey, speaking of being stronger.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome in, everybody. Hey, if you've been living under a rock, remove yourself from the rock.
Yes.
And paint some
remove
models.
The rock.
Hopefully you're doing that today. It doesn't feel like a holiday week end, ? It doesn't feel like a holiday week to me.
No?
No. It's weird coming back from a holiday week to go back into a holiday week.
This week is tough. It's tough to find some of the motivation.
No, I found it. I found the motivation. It's more of like I feel like this week is the busiest week.
Getting prepped for the new year?
No, I have a couple
lot of finished stuff.
We have a couple things that I'm working on before the new year.
Things to finish.
We're doing a I was gonna actually send this to you tomorrow. I'm doing a whole compilation of like what we did this year.
Awesome.
Right? A big social post. I'm having
Year
Alex
end.
help me. Yeah, like a year in review. Right? We did a lot of stuff this year. When you look back. Like we did a lot.
We sure did.
We released brush on primers along with the varnishes.
Yep.
Amp sets. Right?
Yep.
Which does not
Expert
feel like
acrylics.
this year, right? Expert acrylics, Drunken Brush Goop 2.0,
Yep.
tubes for texture.
Yep.
That's not a new product, but it's a new format.
Yep.
Right? Wizard's Butt set, framables, 3 colored primers. What else am I missing? I think those are the products, and then obviously we did a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, those were I'm trying to remember. I had a whole list of them. The Curin, we released that this year.
Yep.
Man, we did a lot.
Just when you thought you were lazy.
Huh?
It's like, just when I thought I was lazy, Chris comes out with a video that shows, look at all this stuff.
Now, I did take a picture of every stream this year that we did.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'm making a compilation.
We've streamed a lot, by the way.
This year we've streamed 30% more, I think, than last year.
No.
I think so.
Really?
Technically, when it comes to time. Also, if you guys wanted fun facts of how many terabytes of footage I've gone through, it's wild. Because when I hit record, we record all 3 of these cameras, right?
Yep.
And then I reduce them down. But we've had over 20 terabytes of footage. There's a lot of footage. And that's when I hit record. So I'm putting all the thumbnails I've done for stream, and I'm trying to format them to do like a little slide like in a minute.
Oh, very cool.
So.
Oh, in a minute?
Yeah, so it's going to be fast. So it's
like a deck of cards
I
shuffling.
think it's like 100. I think it's going to be like 250 something. I didn't actually take a picture of your December 24th. I need a picture of that one.
Oh, that's right.
But we did a lot. I can't believe we released AMP this year.
Does that feel like a long time ago for you?
It feels like last year for me. In my mind.
Adepticon always feels like a year ago.
It does, but it's not. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say close.
It's getting close
We're
now.
closer now, but we're technically have 3 months left.
Oh, God.
I know
That's
that
so scary
sounds
to
daunting,
think
but
about.
to me, it almost sounds like it's a far way away.
I'm already having, all I did today was send emails to stuff planning Adepticon.
Yeah, I'm sure this is the time. Did you thin that green, or is that just right out of the?
I thinned it 2-to-1 paint to water.
Yeah, Adepticon feels like it was a minute ago.
And I'm just slopping it on. You can see I'm building it up willy-nilly. I'm trying not to let stuff pile up too much, but again, part of the fun with playing with it is to see how it reacts when you do. Just let it pile up. How is it going to feel? And this guy will probably be close to dry and show you, right? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
feels good to me. It's building up around the textures, but keeping the open areas smooth. And again, I think I can just use maybe yellow-green as this. I'll show you the nice thing about these paints is you can mix them with our normal line. So if there is a need for a highlight color like we're going to run into, then I can just mix the special sauce with whatever color I need to brighten it up and turn it into a highlight paint.
it's under the sauce.
Which makes the world so much easier.
Hey, another raid.
What?
Sorry. Welcome in. Sorry, I think I pronounced that right.
Who's it?
Art the Studio? Sorrent Art Vel Studio?
Welcome.
Welcome in. I was a huge nerd of green, so I see green, I come. Nice, yes. Thank you so much for that raid. We appreciate it. Welcome in, raiders. Man, that is 4 raids today.
Hi, everybody.
It's a lot of raiding. I guess it is the holiday. This is a holiday.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way.
We are showing off some upcoming product. We are finally entering our answer to speed paints, contrast paints to the market. So you will have your ability to get Procryl in a, I don't want to say a much easier form. I think that's a misnomer.
It's just another tool. This is just another form of
another
Procryl.
tool for you that I mean, after using them on these models and being so ecstatic, I haven't gotten this excited individually about a formula of paint in a long time because, you know, we nailed our formula off the get-go, and Procryl has not needed a whole lot of re-engineering along the way. So, you know, we become kind of lazy in that regard, and we forget that, hey, there's still really cool, fun stuff we can do.
Zeppelin,
And this one has really reinvigorated my my fun having, right? Because I can come in and do like we've done today. These models at the beginning of the stream a couple hours ago started as gray plastic. As a matter of fact, the super glue was drying on the guy we just did because I had just glued them to the bases before the show. And then we primed and are getting to the point to where the skin is other than a few highlight spots, is going to be really close to done. And that's at a level that we can take to a very high level of painting. It doesn't have to strangulate our ability to turn these into whatever we want them to be. Where I feel like so many of those products limit me as a new painter into it looking a particular way because of the way they pile up on raised areas and things like that. And the smoothness of this is just, it allows me to go crazy with it, which is what saves you the time if I can just slop it on. I mean, I obviously don't want to try to get it on everything else, so I'm being a little careful. In a perfect world, you just slop this all over the model, but I think that's one of the biggest problems with these types of paints is that you go a little crazy and then you're outside the lines with all of it. And you got to clean up.
Zelf, after the release of True Metallic Vallejo paints, did they inspire you to maybe start creating more variant of your awesome metallic paints?
Nah.
We have metallic medium that works really well, too.
We don't really look at the world that way. You know, we sat across, our booth was across from them at SMC while they were doing all of that. And so, you know, I paid attention. I, you know, looked at what they're doing. And colored metallics, I think, are cool in a world that I don't revolve around very much, which, and I can think of like Infinity and all that, but I think in Gundam and some of those things, there's some real cool things that could be played out with, you know, pre-colored metallics. We've always gone with our metallic medium. The funny thing is we are working on some metallic products and have been for coming up on 2 years now that we'll be excited to launch whenever those are ready. I don't know if that'll be 2026. I kind of hope it is. But we've got some really cool stuff happening with metallic. So yeah, we will constantly be looking at, other colors we can add. We still have expansion sets 5 and 6 that have to go into the line. Those will be coming, maybe expansion set 5 in 2006. It depends on or 2026, 2006. It depends on how much time is taken up by expanding the special sauce line, these paints here, right? If the community response is huge for these, then, we will spend a lot of time fleshing out that line so that we don't have to wait years to have, all the colors. Because I plan on doing 48 colors.
Thank you so much for that raid, Soren. He said, I recently picked up your new color primers, the purple, red, oxide, and taupe. What are the preferred use cases for them? Heck, you could just replace your black with that dark purple. I've started to do that.
Yeah.
That's just
Use the black when you need a high... Like for these,
yeah,
the purple wouldn't be dark enough after you start putting the contrast style paints over the top, maybe, to give the contrast you want. Depends on the color combo you're going for. So there's still a world where you might look at a lot of black, which I do, to give you that boost of contrast. But what I've been doing is doing the black and then doing the purple over the top of the black. And that is amazing, because that guarantees your shadows are super deep.
I love my cat says, this is more of a general question, but every time I get a new brush, they have this singular hair at the tip that takes 3 to 4 hours off painting to wear down and give me a precise, sharp tip. They are good Kolinsky brushes. Is that normal? I've just now gotten used to breaking in my brushes.
Yeah, a lot of people call it the lead hair. It should not be there. It is a problem sometimes. It's what they build the bundle for, and in a lot of industries that those paintbrushes are made for, it doesn't matter, right? Because nobody's other than miniature painters is really using them to paint as detailed as we are. So it's an unfortunate problem for our industry that we're dealing with. But you can just clip it too, if you're comfortable doing that. It's something I don't recommend to everybody, because if you square off the tip of the brush by cutting other hairs around it, then you've ruined your brush. So
yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah,
I ain't doing that. It's like diffusing a bomb.
Yeah, because when you make the brush head, you have that initial shaping where you're pulling to a point, and so the way the point is made is you have a bunch of hairs in it that are all pulled at different lengths to create that cone, and that the bunch of them kind of rounding into each other hold the point. And so that one guide hair, so to speak, in the middle is that one that, as they pull the point, is that last straggler, and it's like the point on the top of the building, and it doesn't matter to anybody but us, right?
Show that to sort of see the fur you did with the special sauce.
Yeah, this was just the special sauce. This was just the zenithal, and
Source,
then the brown. I mixed the brown. I
is.
mixed the warm and the black brown together.
And for a metallic,
and this was the warm brown by itself over that leather bag, by itself, and that was just instantaneous, great looking.
That chewy is like done.
Yeah, that was literally a coat of the stuff on there, one coat of the brown on the bag, and then I did the black on the gun, and then dry brushed the gun with white blue. And literally, you could paint the base and maybe the teeth.
The teeth.
And you could have a table-ready model. It's not finished, right? You would still want to go back and highlight things and put other details. He doesn't have a ton of details, though, so
he's kind of
done. As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty good.
GK Models, speaking of metallics, what is the best coat for shiny gold? I would say our magnesium is pretty great metallic for shadows.
Yeah, if you want to keep with a metallic color. We just did a video that Chris posted up where I've used warm brown underneath, I think.
Warm brown's great, yeah.
So using an opaque color underneath metallics works really, really well, too. You just have to do your metallics in more of a glaze.
Yeah, check that video out. I'm going to link it here.
It's a really good way to do stuff.
It's a great example of how to glaze your metallics. That's why I really like that one.
We showed you some wet blending today.
Yeah, you did.
We wet blended Payne's Gray and a burnt red on an axe. We also did it on the back of these wings. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, look, it almost looks like we painted it the exact same way. It's just I used either
Layering.
burgundy or a brighter red over here, which doesn't exist here. But after that wet blend, they look almost like that would pass as identical.
Yeah.
And this was layered, and this was wet blended.
Also, GK Models, we have another video right here about fast and dirty true metallic gold, where he also does the similar. He does a similar one, but with the magnesium for shiny gold. That gold video is awesome. So check that
Magnesium
one
is
out.
my favorite metallic for putting under anything, silver or golds.
I put it under everything now.
Bronze, silver, gold, whatever color metal you're doing, the magnesium works absolutely fantastic because it has enough of a leaning to gray for white metals like silver and steel, and enough of a leaning to yellow for golds and bronzes and coppers. So it's a perfect base coat. I like it. What I really like is how this came out.
Now, what would you do? What's the next step after that?
Just highlight.
Highlights?
Yeah.
Heck, you
I mean,
could
if you were
dry
going
brush.
fast, you could dry brush them. I'm not going to do that. But you could.
Baby J did a similar short. I'm trying to the green scale short. This one. It looks very close to that.
That was as easy as you're going to get on big. These are big models too. So
Yes, the magnesium. I love magnesium on chicken sandwiches. Says Wad. You're banned, fired, canceled. All the above. Wad, you know the rules.
I don't know if I can support that.
On chicken sandwiches? Come on, Wad.
I don't know if I can support that. So I'm trying to do all the armor. The
Zilfer,
biggest
that's
problem
so
with
true.
this army is trying to figure out how to change the armor colors up, given that the Oni are, what I'm doing here is I'm doing black armor with the jade and turquoise trim and red accents. And so on the red skin, it looks one way. On using those colors on the green skin, it'll be different. And so choosing which elements to paint each, like I could do the skirt like the jade and then stick to black and red for everything else because I don't have any red on his skin. So that could be really cool. So I want to change them up. I could do the ropes in jade, right?
You could do the ropes in jade.
Holy, too many choices.
Jason, you can do whatever you want. That's what you tell me.
Holy, too many choices.
Well, you don't tell me that. You tell yourself that you can do everything you want.
You can do whatever you want, Chris.
No, you can do whatever you want, technically.
But I think the armor bits want to stay black on all of them. That feels like the right answer.
It feels like the right answer. Are you gonna,
Yeah.
You gonna use that airbrush anymore? Or you want me to turn it
No,
off?
you can turn it off if you want.
Just so that I don't.
I'm done. It's because it bothers him, chat. It's not because he'll forget. It's because he doesn't like it.
I don't. I actually don't mind. I just don't want it.
Yeah. Sure.
Whatever. Welcome everybody. If this is your first time,
How are you doing?
witnessing,
Why are we whispering? Is this an ASMR stream now?
in 2026, our new goal is to just whisper the whole time. Welcome to Monument
How come
Hobbies.
I didn't get to vote on this?
You did vote on it.
I want to do this.
You held the pen for the voting. Welcome in, everybody.
Feels like we should be rubbing the microphone.
Like this.
Don't do it.
Chat's really getting the business right now.
Don't do it. Show some foot and we're rich.
Hey, speaking of feet,
Welcome, everybody.
we're so glad you're here. I guess. You know, if you found yourself,
If you're into that sort of thing.
this is the weird week for people. I've heard like the weird, like the Christmas lull, like the day after Christmas, people get crap done. I got so much done this holiday, it's not even funny.
Are you
I
saying
was-
this is like a limbo?
I was on my roof yesterday filling in cracks that I didn't like. I was like, I should fill this in. Why wouldn't I?
You know, you've told us the on the roof story 6 times already.
Yesterday, I started sealing all the windows too because I'm like, I should just do this. So I got back up there. I got up there, did the thing, found another thing, did another thing. So it just kept going, but I finished it all. So hopefully, chat, you have finished all your stuff. But now we're in that weird lull between the new year. But this feels like the busy time. This is the time to get stuff done.
Is it?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Why not?
All right, this black is easily my favorite of the entire lineup.
It's black?
Yeah.
I like it.
Black
it's
with
like
a blue.
It's like a blue. Oh, this is the black. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and
I
when
thought you said it was jade or something.
When you go through and thin it down, you get more of that blue.
Oh. How
right?
thin is this?
Hmm?
How thin is this?
This is just out of the bottle.
Dr. Rhino?
I put a lot of water on the brush, so the first hit on the model was really, really light.
Dr.
Right up here in
Rhino's
this
getting
area.
That hype. Sir Blame says, finally bought the Pro Grill base set.
Awesome.
Stay by my side, baby.
Welcome
Don't
to your
say
doom.
goodbye. That's forever. Welcome to the crew.
Welcome to your doom.
The value. Yes, Dr. Rhino, I would agree. I gave my father so much Pro Acryl this Christmas.
Hey, oh yeah, how did he like his Christmas? Because you got him a new tank.
I got him a tank. I got him all of these browns and like a lot of our browns, greens, and grays that he didn't even realize we had. Then I got him 4 brushes. I gave him the Dauntless to try out. Then I gave him some paints to finally do his faces, right? The little German guy faces. He's got the little German commanders he's painting right now. So, yeah, it was good. Yeah, he's a painting animal. Put me to shame. Gabe came over because I was hanging out with Gabe this weekend, and my dad was getting rid of one of his old tool chests and gave it to Gabe. Showed Gabe. I'm like, hey, he's catching up to us, man.
You showed Gabe his models?
Yeah, because he was like, check it out, man. Right. He's into it. He's in deep now.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
He's in deep.
He hook, line, and
he doesn't have
sinker.
enough models. Like, he just needs new models because he doesn't have any. He's just build, prime, done, go, weathering, chipping. Like, he's a machine right now. Dr. Ryan says, all I asked Santa was the chance to paint a Psychopop model with Jason, and Santa said, damn, bro, just ask for a skateboard or something. Psychopop.
What?
Hey.
Rumor has it you showed me a picture of models. I don't have any. You know where I live.
Psychopomp?
Yeah.
What is that? What is
Dr. Rhino's making a game. I talked about it on stream.
Really?
Yeah. He's making a game. It's great. And neat concept.
There you go.
Neat.
Silver, nice. You got a go bag? Did you get the big one or the
neat
little
gameplay.
one? Okay.
And now he's got some neat models coming out. So
nice.
Stay tuned and follow Dr. Rhino because he's going to have a lot more to talk about. And as a community member making a game, I think it's the best way to support miniature games. One of our own is putting it out there, risking the biscuit to put his own creativity out there.
That's
Think of
awesome.
what he's got to offer. Yeah, this is just the best. As long as I can paint them with our new special sauce paints, Dr. Rhino, I'm in. This may be all I ever paint with from now on. That's not true.
Zilfer says, got the go bag. Which one? Oh, the big one. Oh, Zilfer. Very nice. Once I have my copies, I'll get you the STL, says Dr. Rhino. We'll hold you to that.
Did somebody else print those out? The ones you sent me the pictures of? I thought those were yours. I got all super excited.
Once I have my copies, I'll get you the STLs. Hey, we'll hold you accountable, Dr. Rhino. I want to see this now. Yes, I had a very productive Christmas.
Good.
Very, very productive.
I feel like I did too. We got the studio pretty much done.
Yeah, you got a new fridge?
I did not.
No, you didn't?
No.
Oh.
No, we didn't. We
Oh.
were still talking about it, but Jen doesn't seem as enthusiastic about it. I don't know why. So I've kind of left it up to her. We were out about on the town. I think we had gone to IKEA. And on the way back from IKEA, I was like, do we want to stop and look at it? And she made a good point. Well, they might be doing after Christmas or New Year's blowout sales, so we should probably look again. So we didn't go, and we were going to look online, and then it just never happened. So,
The air compressor.
well, you didn't turn it off. That's a you thing, brother. That thing's spring-loaded, so if you don't push it all the way, it goes back to on. It's you, not me. No, it's not a ghost.
It was 100% a ghost. Christmas was lit, says Ronan. I just got a butt set, 8 new colors, and finished my 40K Fulgram with all Pro Acryl, of course.
Freaking yes.
I finished my Blood Bowl this holiday. What did I finish? I finished my Blood Bowl. I started building night legs. What else did I do?
Night legs?
Yeah, my knight's legs.
Oh, I was like, what is night legs?
Night legs.
I thought that was the name of something, like some big spider from the Lord of the Rings that I didn't know.
Night legs. And then what else I do? I cleaned up my hobby area.
Did you dance a shimmy? Shimmy and perhaps a shake?
Did I dance and shimmy and shake? No.
You didn't dance shimmy and shake?
I don't do that. I don't do those kinds of things. I don't do these types of things. I messed around with this the Black Magic app on the phone. I really dialed that in this weekend. I thought was interesting. There's a Black Magic app for all of you nerds out there who are wanting to film yourself doing stuff. I recommend. No free pub for Black Magic, but their app is actually incredible. It's essentially just a way better video interface for your phone where you can actually like change the shutter. You can change all of this stuff. They still have some bugs though. I won't give them full free pub. They need to. It is free, so I'll give them that. Lumberjack says, I gave away my old school go bag at paint night to a guy who carried his paints in a literal suitcase. Nice, Lumberjack. That's dope.
Tim, that's awesome.
That's kind
Thank
of
you for being you. Good thing.
Matthias says, I got Blood Bowl Season 3 for Xmas and the Goonies Lego set. Nice. I use Sugar Rush. I have got a Google Pixel, so it's on Android. I also think it has a iOS app too, but check it out.
For those of you whose chats aren't in green.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, he's talking about me.
I've found some horrible, like I've news, like some people don't include me in chats because my chat bubbles are green.
Oh,
like,
we have a green one here.
I'm literally the only person in my large friend group who doesn't have an iPhone. I get so much crap for it. Did I go on my roof? I did, Gilborn. I did go on my roof.
He was just talking about it.
I was just
doing. He's talked about going on his roof like 3 or 4 times in the last couple of months.
I did.
I couldn't come out and do the fun stuff with my friends because I had to go on my roof.
I did.
And here it is again. I had to go on my roof.
I fixed it.
Is this just like a new thing that you've discovered? Ladders, so you can get on your roof, and you're like, the world looks different up here.
No. I just needed to get some stuff done on my roof.
So
the first job was completed. Then I had a second job, and then I had a third job.
So the last thing in the world you should be doing is patching your roof.
No, I needed some patching. It fixed the problem.
Okay.
It did actually fix the problem because it rained and it didn't leak where I put
good.
the fix. So
that's actually good.
I'm actually really happy that I fixed it temporarily. Now, to be fair, I need to get a new roof, but that is unfortunately
that's a big expense.
Extremely expensive. So I'm saving up for one, but hopefully I don't need that for like 5 years. So
you would think that in Arizona, where roofs have to be replaced way more often than other parts of the world, that you would you'd find that roofs would be cheaper here somehow.
Yeah, Yeah.
Is yours rolled rubber? Are you telling me? Is it flat?
It is no, so it's tiled.
Oh, okay.
So luckily, I had somebody come out and look at it a month or so ago, and it's not too bad. I have a 40-year liner, so it's nice liner, so it still has life on it. But I didn't want to pay for this current leak, so I really ghetto rigged it. But it fixed the problem, and it was way cheaper, so that I could buy my Knight.
Gotta have priorities, man.
That's what I'm thinking, man.
Gotta have priorities.
That's what I needed. I'm like, well,
More miniatures or a roof that doesn't leak?
and I fixed the leak, so I'm like, this is great. There you go. Gilborn, he hasn't overcome repressed fear of heights. No, I actually don't mind heights. I like heights actually. Pixel photos are great. I found where you can control the yes, but yeah, Mondays if you're needing to actually record yourself, it's actually a pretty good app. So it's not good for face stuff. Just use your regular video for that. But if you wanted to look a little bit more like I could change it's all fake, right? It's just digital stuff that it's doing. It's not like really changing your aperture or your shutter speed like a normal camera would, but at least you get the practice of the same settings.
It's digitizing those things.
Yeah, but it came out great. I mean, it's actually pretty good. And I was trying to figure it out to have it go through NDI through my network, but I got too in the weeds with that.
Now he's just making up words to seem smart.
No, NDI is the network channel. Everybody has access to it. Look up NDI, folks.
Don't do it. You'll be on a list. Trying to nab you. He's an FBI agent. Remember, you've been here. You've heard him.
Miniac
Mr.
does
President,
a lot of his studio through NDI, but I'm not a huge fan of NDI. I will say that. A lot of people live and die by NDI. I'm not one of those people. I like hardwired HDMIs or SDI cables. Hardwired. Jason, it is 5:04.
Time to quit.
You can keep going if you want.
Nope, it's time to quit.
Zilfer's like, nah, no late stream today, Jason, an hour and a half ago. This is true.
I lie a lot. Well, we had all these people who come in and raid us.
I know. We have to.
Who am I to run
do this
in the face of challenge?
Yeah, man.
I don't feel like that's sculpted right, but whatever. Very strange. This is gonna be good.
And guess what? We'll be back tomorrow.
Black armor. It will be good. The slight nuance of blue through there just makes the black kind of finish itself instantaneously. Again, with the black, it's literally just a layer, depending on how much metallic you want to go, a layer of blue-black as a highlight, and then white-blue mixed with the blue-black as an edge, and then white-blue on its own if you want it to look metallic. So I didn't go to white-blue everywhere, just on the teeth and the knuckles on the face pounder there. But then the black looks pretty good, just as a simple way to do black. This is just the black special sauce, then a layer of blue-black, and then the blue-black and white blue and the little bit of white blue because those are hard metal panels on there. Super simple.
Super simple.
Super simple. And I love these guys with the all black armor as their face bellies.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a mouth that goes all the way up in there too. So they don't
How
really
does that
have
work?
real bellies. That's very strange.
That's
I guess they are demons.
It's like a Nurgle maw.
I guess they are demons, so they're allowed to be filled with all sorts of weirdness.
Filled with all sorts of weirdness.
Kind of like you, Chris.
Me?
Yeah. Filled with all sorts of weirdness.
I guess it's true.
He knows it.
I guess that's true.
He knows it's true.
I guess that's true. You guys can't see my face, but it has lots
There's
of...
so many models here, and I got to build more.
You've done this yourself. Oh, I can't clean your station right now. Because what?
You can't.
I know. Get it cleaned.
Why?
If I gotta clean the paper. The paper. Oh,
It's a
you
disaster. Look at this. Look what
xenophobed
you've let happen to my workstation.
No, that is 100%. You 100% did that.
I did this?
You literally did that today, and I'm like, dang, I'm gonna have to move all those models to get to that paper.
We've done this. We've zenithal 9 models.
No, Jason.
11 models.
Jason, you have 50 others behind you before I change that paper out. There's no way I'm changing that paper.
So I took the 9 Tengu home that I gotta build. I gotta build 9 Tengu. The boxes are getting emptier.
When are you streaming at home?
Like 1 box at a time.
More
It's not happening very fast.
More stream.
I don't know.
Don't you? I don't know me.
I have to today. Hopefully the PC sling showed up, so I have to put the PC sling to
Is it
sling
going underneath your
the computer under the
that's
desk
cool.
because the cables are all really tight right now, and I don't like that.
You need another light?
I need a stand for the other light.
What's kind of stand?
I need to figure out the color correctness on the camera. It's
at 5600 with a tint.
but the camera reset to all the factory defaults, and I don't know where the buttons are to change all that stuff because it has it all on menus that I went through, and I was able to move.
It reset the camera?
Yeah, everything was set to it was so dark you couldn't even see through the lens.
Oh, that's odd.
I had to boost it back up to 1200, 1100 or something like that on the f-stop or whatever it is.
When are you buying it, Chris? I have one. I have a replacement. I need to set it up. I will be back live. You have my word, chat.
He may not be getting a new one. I may be getting a new one. It depends on how the home setup goes. I may give that one back to him, and I'll go get a better camera. I might buy one of these Black Magics for the house. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see.
When are you doing your job, Chris? Right now.
He does his job all the time. He's actually pretty good at it.
Hey,
pretty good.
50-50.
No free pub for that Chris guy, but
no free pub for me.
A lactose intolerant cheese lover's tale, also filled with all sorts of weirdness.
Wow. Wow. All right, everybody.
All right, everybody. We got some good work done today. We got the new what are these guys called? Kappas. Kappa Bushis.
Kapabushi.
Kappa Bushis
That's
done
not a
with
real word.
The pre-highlight, some yellow special sauce, followed by some green special sauce. The skin's looking really good. Then we'll highlight that up. We'll be good to go. Good to go. It's going to be a fun army. It's going to be very colorful, which was my goal. You've made Jason laugh, which is your day is complete. Ugh. How dare you put a chink in my armor.
That's right. That's right.
Everyone, thanks so much for coming and watching some paint dry with us. If you're here on one of those new raids and it's the first time you've ever seen us here at Monument Hobbies, please hit the follow, subscribe, like, all those buttons. Hit the alerts to go live. We do this Monday through Friday generally. Schedule's a little different during the holidays, but normally we stream Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which we call Monument Standard Time, here in Phoenix, Arizona for Monument HQ. We'd love to see you back. We have a great community of people. Chris will put up the links in chat. You can go hit up our Discord where we've got over 6,400 amazing artists in our Discord. It's crazy right now. We'd love to see you over there. It's a great community of people hanging out, talking hobby, making friends, inspiring one another. It's a really welcoming community where you can show off your stuff, ask questions if you've got problems in the hobby or thinking about trying out new products and asking other people how they've liked it. So a great place to come and hang out and nerd out 24 hours a day. It's great. As well as monumenthobbies.com and monumenthobbies.eu. We have 2 stores across the globe, one in France, one here in Phoenix, where you can buy all of our lovely hobby products the next time you've got a gap in your own hobby desk. Give our paints a try if you haven't already. ProCore will change your life. Guaranteed asterisk.
That's right.
Check the footnotes. But thanks so much for hanging out. We will be streaming, obviously, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday again. And then we are off New Year's and the day after New Year's, Thursday and Friday. And like this last weekend, which I didn't come through and actually stream for you over the Christmas holiday because I was building the studio at home. But this next weekend, I should have all that set to a point where I feel comfortable painting or building or something, and we can chitter-chatter when I'm at the home studio. So we'll see how that goes. So there should be some ragtag after hours streaming over the weekend. So make sure to follow and get live updates. We'd love to see you guys and gals back here again. Stick around. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid. Show some love in the channel you wind up in for some more hobby goodness throughout your evening, and we will catch you back here tomorrow. Adios, gang.
Take it easy.